It's a heck of a show on KOA News Radio.
Okay, let's get going. We got a lot to cover tonight and 4 hours to do it in. You ready to go, Angie? Are we live on Facebook and YouTube?
Yes.
Seriously, it's working?
Yeah,
seriously. Are you using the other computer or the old computer? What are you doing?
I haven't set up the new computer yet. I got to charge it a little bit because, well, I didn't have a power cord for it for a couple weeks.
Wonder whose fault that was.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what happened. It was like missing from the box.
It was missing from the box, huh? Wow. Oh, what you can do without a power cord. It's amazing, isn't it? Colorado is still trying to, although I don't know whether it's going to do it or not, Colorado is still trying to ban single-use plastic straws. Because we don't need to worry about, I don't know, the Green New Deal or the new Green Deal or the new Purple Deal or the old Purple Deal or the Arenado Deal. I don't know what we need to worry about, but we need to worry about deals. Now California, since they have already banned plastic straws, California is now thinking about a bill to ban paper cash register receipts. I brought you this story maybe a week or two ago. Wall Street Journal has a story about it today that's just freaking hilarious. One reason offered for the ban is to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. You know when you're you're at a restaurant and they bring, you know what bugs me about restaurant receipts? When you have to sign, what?
You were looking at me, so I thought you were asking me a question.
I was just looking in to see what you're doing. What are you doing in there?
I am.
Should I ask what you're doing in there?
You know, we had a little hiccup with the podcast yesterday.
No,
technical issues.
No, I did not know that until a certain engineer emailed us and said that the podcasts were screwed up.
Oh, I mean, it's like I didn't know that. I mean, I would never, ever have known that without that.
Okay. All right. So anyway, you looked like you were doing something unusual, so I just happened to glance up and look as I was getting ready to talk about California and the stupid restaurant receipt thing.
It's unusual for me to look on the computer and work?
See, that's like, hey, honey, does this dress make my butt look fat? Or do you like my new hairdo? The answer to that is silence.
Well, you started it.
Well, I was just curious what you were doing.
I am fixing the podcast.
Well, you better. Have you looked at our podcast numbers lately?
Yes, I did.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
So let me take this opportunity to request that if you would like to listen to the program on demand, that's like what the cool kids say, like you watch on demand. Well, if you want to listen to this program on demand, like I demand to listen to Michael Brown right now, then you can go to KOANewsRadio.com. There's a podcast page there. You can go to iTunes. You can subscribe on iTunes. And if you subscribe on iTunes, by the way, just a little hint here, you have to look for Heck of a Show with Michael Brown. If you look for Michael Brown Show, well, that will bring you up the old, that hasn't updated for 3 or 4 months now. So if you go to iTunes, I have a favor to ask. Go over to iTunes and it has ratings and reviews. If you could leave a nice review, don't leave a nasty review, leave a nice review, and then give us a 5-star rating. There's a podcast that I listen to, and at the end of every podcast, it says, this guy's a friend of mine, if you enjoyed this evening's podcast, we would appreciate it if you would leave a 5-star review on iTunes and a short comment about why you enjoyed the podcast. So I'm going to do the same thing. I would appreciate it if you would leave a 5-star review and a short review about why you like the Michael Brown Show podcast. I'm sorry, the Heck of a Show with Michael Brown podcast. Because that's how you have to find it. You can also find it. Angie, speaking of the story I was telling you before the break about throats,
Yeah.
I am having that problem tonight.
So wait, and you're still here?
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's like my. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm constantly needing some sort of water or Diet Coke, iced tea, something on my throat because it's just going dry and just going.
Ugh.
Here, let me show everybody on YouTube what it looks like. Drives me crazy. Hate it when stuff like that happens. You don't know why it's happening, what it is. We should talk. You know what we should do? We should do an hour about illnesses, ailments.
Should we look on the WebMD? Because
Let's real quickly. 303-713-8585. What's the strangest ailment you've ever had? I don't want measles, chickenpox. I don't care about that. I want to know like some strange ailment that you've had. Like, you I don't know, you cut your finger off with a buzzsaw or something. That's not really an ailment, is it? That's more like an accident. So we need to define ailment versus an accident. Let's look up the word ailment to get to a precise. An ailment is an illness, typically a minor one. Well, I don't want that. Well, see, now I don't want to hear about people who have cancer. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about something weird. Like, you've got like an ingrown zit on your nose. How about that? That's the standard right there. 303-713-8585. If you have an ingrown zit on your nose, that's the kind of thing that we want to hear about. And we want good descriptions too. We don't want this. We don't want people just like, I got this I got this sinus infection, so I got these big boogers and I got snot running everywhere. I don't care about that. Now, if you were in a meeting and you sneezed because you were sick and you went to work and the snot just blew all over the conference room table, I might be interested in that. If you were tuning in to hear something serious about politics tonight, you might be in deep doo-doo because you know what? I'm in one of those moods again where I got a whole stack of stuff here. I got things about Amazon because, AOC. AOC's in the news again. Yep, AOC's in the news. A bunch of nut jobs went after the pastry chef at Mar-a-Lago for a thought crime. Medicare for all, we got that. We got a naked man in a dog park. We got cow puns. This week in ridiculous regulations, California's losing people. Netflix, a Houston cop lied, people died. Oh, remember that? Bush lied, people died. Seriously? I don't believe this. Let's go to Mike up in Greeley. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, Michael Brown, I had the hiccups for 3 months straight. They came out of nowhere, and I tried every trick that would ever work for me in the past, but I could not get rid of them.
Holy cow. So, like, how often would you actually do the hiccup?
It started happening like once every 30 seconds, and then once every minute, and then it just kept going like that forever. Well, okay, not forever. I said 3 months. I meant 3 months. But I was laying there trying to sleep.
The doctor?
No, I did not go see a doctor. I just assumed that eventually they would go, and that's how it happened. One day I just noticed that they were just gone.
Isn't that what men do? Don't men just assume that eventually whatever ails us will eventually go away?
Well, it'll do one of two things. It'll either go away or it'll put us 6 feet under, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
hiccups for 3. Are you married or anything?
I was married at the time, yes.
So the story gets better. So you had the hiccups for 3 months, and she finally said, I've had enough of this crap, and left you, right?
Well, it's a little more involved than that. Actually, she left me after the hiccups were gone, but yeah. I'm surprised that she did stick around through the 3 months there.
3 months of hiccups. See, this is precisely what I was looking for. Mike, congratulations. See, that's the kind of caller I want. I had the hiccups for 3 months. And being like the good male that he is, Because no female would do that. A female would run to the doctor like that day. Oh, doctor, I've been having the hiccups for the past, hour and a half. And then the doctor, charges you like $1 bazillion, and then the hiccups go away. 3 months. Whoa, I love it. Let's go to Mark in Arvada. Mark, what's your ailment?
Well, it's not mine. I work in a hospital. I see a lot of weird things.
Now, is this story going to be HIPAA compliant?
Oh, yeah. It was a while ago, before HIPAA, first of all. But I will not say a word about any identities.
Come on. Let's get a full-on HIPAA violation going tonight.
Yeah, not going to happen.
So are you a doctor, a nurse, a custodian? What do you do?
I'm a pharmacist.
A pharmacist? Oh,
yeah.
You're a pill pusher. You're an evil pill pusher.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on the drug industry.
I was going to say, can I bitch for a moment about XYZ or whatever? And he'd say, well, give him some of this, some of this, some of this, or whatever. And we just pull it out of the medicine cabinet and do it. And so now I have been trying to build up, I'd like to have a 6-month supply of all the medications I take. That is impossible to do now.
It's your insurance company and PBMs.
It is. I hate PPMs, third-party administrators. I hate them all. I hate them.
They're the bane of my existence, too.
All right, so anyway, let's go back to the HIPAA story. So you were working in a hospital as a pharmacist.
Working in the ICU, we get a gentleman on Christmas Day who...
Oh, you know how you get that kind of tingling, you want to grab your groin when you hear stories like that? Oh.
Well, it gets worse. I mean, for people who are kind of squeamish, well, we use medicinal leeches.
Wait a minute. Seriously using medicinal leeches?
Yeah, well, the idea was they grabbed these fingers, put them on ice, and brought them to us, and we were using the leeches to get all the pooled blood out of the tips so it would restore circulation after they sewed them back on and reinstalled the arteries, nerves, tendons, ligaments, whatever.
See, I find that fascinating that we can do that kind of stuff. So do you think the digits still work? How long ago was this? Is this before the advent of like microsurgery?
Well, I mean, it's in combination of microsurgery because they have to do the microsurgery right at the top of my list.
So was your mother an amateur comedian, and did she fail miserably in vaudeville? Because that was a horrible joke.
I thought she was funny as hell when she said that. I thought it was great.
Okay.
It's great to have a mom who, on occasion, can cuss. I loved it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go to Dan in Commerce City. Dan, what you got? Dan in Commerce City, what you got? Dan in Commerce City.
Hey, yeah, I'm right here. I'm sorry, Michael. You got me?
I don't know. Is this Dan?
Hey, about
who you calling?
This is Dan. I'm sorry. Hey, about 5 years back, I got
Dan, time out.
Yeah.
Time out. What were you doing?
I had you on mute because I walked into the drive-through right there and didn't want her to hear it. So
the drive-through? Which drive-through are you in right now?
McDonald's. I needed a Sunday, man. It's my late night cheat.
Okay, well, I just, everybody has their little vice. Everybody has their little secret, and now yours has been heard by about, a couple 100,000 people, so.
Hey, that hot fudge gets me. I'm sorry. But I did have one that I thought was kind of odd. Not a lot of people got. About 5 years ago, there was a big scare on the news for West Nile virus.
Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, I was down in southeast Texas, and you get it from mosquitoes, so they're plentiful down there. But I was getting sick on and off. Like every 3 days, I'd get a 100-degree fever, and it would just pass, and I'd be fine the next day. And this went on probably 2 months. I couldn't figure out what the hell was wrong with me. I've been to doctors, and they said, well, it just goes away. I said, yeah, I'm fine the next day. And I finally went to a doctor who knew how to diagnose West Nile virus and tested me, and it turns out that's what I had. But if you're a healthy male of a decent age, it's not deadly as the news would have you think, but it does really mess you up, I'll tell you that.
Is there somebody in the car with you that is slurping their...
What now?
Is there somebody in the car with you that is slurping the last little bit out of the bottom of their cup?
No, I am alone in the car, but I got you on my hands free. So
oh, okay. You know, it sounds like, you know how kids will slurp the last little bit out of the bottom of a cup out through a straw?
Yeah.
It sounded just like that, and I thought you got somebody in there slurping up a bunch of ice cream or something.
No, they got me on my hands free. They got me scared of crashing if I'm on the phone.
So you're on the phone, you've got a chocolate fudge sundae from McDonald's, and you're talking to me. No, you're not a danger to society at all. Not at all.
Well, hey, I'm using the hands free though, Michael. It's I'm mitigating the danger here.
Oh, so just one. You've mitigated 1 out of 3. So you're eating your hot fudge. Do you have it? Are you steering with your knees?
Well, no, I haven't touched it. I haven't put the nuts on. You got to put the nuts on. It's worthless.
You know, I've always thought that my entire life, that, you know, with that, you don't put the nuts on, it's worthless, right?
That's about right, yep.
So are you over the West Nile? Did you survive it all?
Yeah, it was a pretty simple round of antibiotics, and it just kind of went away. It's just, I mean, the kicker was no one could diagnose me. I just kept getting sick over and over for several months, and only lasted a little bit. But it was an intense bout each time I got sick. So,
but you actually went to the doctor too, so I'm impressed about that, because most of us don't go to doctors.
You get 100-degree fever 3 times in a week, and then feel fine the next day. You got to figure what's wrong.
Yeah,
with
exactly. Maybe it's a hot fudge sundae, Dan. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
That's got to be.
Okay, that was a pretty good one. I'll take that one too. All right, Angie, here we go. Let's go to Glenn. Glenn, what you got?
Yeah. I already had my broken back. I actually suffered the same injury that Emmy Van Dyken did, but I can still walk.
Well, how'd you break your back?
Well, the landlord wouldn't cut the trees, and they were beating the heck out of the top of the house, and so anyway, I didn't see the hook on the tree, and when I cut the limb, it knocked the bottom of the ladder out.
So did you fall on your head and neck, or?
Yeah, head and neck, and I had a broken vertebra in my back. So I was pissed off. I mean, of
course. Now, were you in traction?
They put this stupid brace on there, that I had to wear for 2.5 months, and I healed up over that. I'm still walking, but then I worked for the railroad, and then I had to have bones fused in my feet. But
one of those, huh? Oh, well, we're not going to be able to get to it anyway. That's the ailment section for the evening right there. And what happened to the guy on line 2? Had a are you serious? Are you serious?
I didn't get the full story, but I was.
Well, it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
I know.
We've done our ailments for the evening, and so now we can, I don't know, take a little ibuprofen and move on.
I lost track of time. There were so many people calling.
I know. Everybody likes to talk about their ailments, right? Oh man, you're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and I don't know, on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Tomorrow on Colorado's Morning News.
We'll talk about the Rockies' deal with Nolan Arenado and get the very latest from our insiders.
And we're going to get the latest from Vietnam on the U.S.-North Korea summit.
Plus, go live to Michael Cohen's testimony on Capitol Hill.
Join us on KOA News Radio.
Hey, it's Michael Brown for Gunsport at 14th and Arapahoe in Boulder. You know, Gunsport is my favorite gun store, and it ought to be your favorite gun store, too. Gunsport's got a wide selection of guns, ammos, knives. Gunsport's got everything that the sport shooter or the self-defense advocate needs. You know, I have literally bought more guns at Gunsport than any other single gun store in my entire life. I bet I've got more than a dozen of my firearms right up at Gunsport. And now there's another reason for you to drive up to Boulder and meet the guys at Gunsport. Gunsport is having a sale. All store-owned bolt-action rifles. You're only going to pay 5% above cost on all gun store-owned bolt-action rifles. You know, you're not going to find a better deal on bolt-action rifles than at Gunsport. 5% above cost. You got to get up there right now. The sale starts Friday and runs through the end of the month. So if you're looking for a great deal on bolt-action rifles, get up to Gunsport or gunsport.us.
If you're not making $5,000 to $10,000 a month at your current job, then maybe it's time to start flipping properties for some quick cash. If you like the sound of that, you're in luck. Over the last 5 years, the NVREA team has been perfecting the art of flipping properties for cash without the added risk of using your own money or credit. Call now and they'll send you a free copy of their DVD, Hidden Treasures in Wholesale Flipping. On this DVD, you'll see their easy wholesale flipping strategy for locating, evaluating, and flipping a property for profit in your area. Plus, learn how you can access highly discounted properties and the right funding partners for that perfect wholesale flip. Call 1-800-614-2196 now to get your free wholesale flipping DVD. Call 800-614-2196 and they'll also throw in free tickets to an information-packed live flipping training class, which includes a free smartwatch just for attending. Call 800-614-2196. That's 800-614-2196 to get your free flipping DVD now. Brought to you by NVREA. And they lived happily ever after. Well, not exactly.
Do I look like I need to wait for my prince?
Disenchanted, the hilarious hit musical about what happens after the fairy tale ends. Think Bridesmaids for Disney Princesses. A fun night out, side-splitting and full of showstoppers. Disenchanted, now playing at BDT Stage at Boulder's Dinner Theater. For tickets, call 303-449-6000 or log on to bdtstage.com and get ready for a wicked night out that's anything but grim.
Small business owners sometimes go broke. My first business startup in the 80s was a fledgling startup story. Credit cards were maxed, car had bald tires, house had broken windows, and my employees got paid before I did. But my diet of hot dogs and mac and cheese was to die for. Hi, I'm Mike Capel, founder and CEO of Patriot Software. My business startup was messy. Actually, I was broke. My wife and I lived on fumes for 4 years. To escape our financial reality, we played board games and dreamt of someday owning our own boardwalk and park place. That's why I created my 5th successful company, Patriot Software, to help small business owners do their payroll without going broke. And if you need help, we will help you for free. Go to patriotsoftware.com and enter promo code RADIO, and I'll give you 2 months of payroll processing free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Looking for the best trap, skeet, and sporting clays course, or do you want to sharpen your shooting skills? Go to Colorado Clays. Colorado Clays has a world-class 20-lane open-air heated handgun and rifle range. It's also handicapped accessible. When it comes to trap, skeet, and sporting clays, Colorado Clays is the top choice for recreational and competitive shooters. Along 100 Cottonwood acres and only 30 minutes from downtown Denver. No membership required. Please remember to tell them Susan Whitkin sent you. ColoradoClays.com.
KOA News Radio time 7:30. Passengers on board the stranded Coast Starlight Train 11 are now back in Seattle after being trapped on the tracks in a snow-covered rural area of Oregon since Sunday night. ABC's Will Carr has the story.
The train was supposed to run from Seattle to Los Angeles, but came to a screeching halt when a tree fell on the tracks in rural, snow-covered Oregon. The hours passing, food started to run short. Then, nearly 50 hours after some stepped on board, that bell sounding the toll of elation. 183 passengers thankful to get off a train that was trapped, a crisis averted.
Amtrak decided it would be safest to keep everyone on board. Passengers have been given full refund. Sports, the Rockies signed star third baseman Nolan Arenado to an 8-year extension, $255 to $260 million, and the Nuggets and Thunder tonight at Pepsi Center. Next update at 8, David Kale, KOA News Radio 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Few problems showing up around the metro area. Southbound I-25 at Alameda, we had an accident. It's on the right shoulder and looks like it might be in the clearing stages, but you will see backups to Colfax. An accident being recorded at westbound I-70 west of Monaco. Watch for delays in the area. Off freeway, an accident tying up Federal above 6th Avenue, and we're clearing a serious accident at Quebec and Lowry. CBS 4 weather. Tonight, some clouds with a chance of fog, low of 21. Tomorrow, some early fog and then partly sunny, high of 43. Currently, it is 43 degrees. This report is sponsored by Maaco. You might not be able to get a new car with your tax refund, but you can make your car feel like it's brand new. All it needs is a great paint job. Come into Maaco today and get your dream paint job during their tax season sales event. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
Attention! If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs green-lighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call the hotline number now, 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794.
Islanders in the Caribbean like to say that if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, and that's great advice for the stock market, too. It's easy to get upset when the market falls, but what we have to remember is that this too shall pass. Now, that's easy to say, but sometimes it can feel hard to do. So in times like these, when stock prices are swinging wildly one day to the next, making you worry that your financial future might be at risk, here's the advice you need. Don't feel that you have to go it alone. Once again, call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
Connect with Michael Brown. Find him on social media through KOANewsRadio.com.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No pill's gonna cure my ill. I got a bad case of loving you.
Angie, did you look it up?
I did. I'm actually waiting for this ad to go away so I can see the video.
So this is please keep me anonymous. Well, I don't have your. All we have is your phone number, so I can't even give you your name out. I could give your phone number out, but that would be inappropriate. So we won't do that. Michael, I had to look this up, and every which way you've spelled it, you've misspelled it. It's Pilonidal. And the Wikipedia doesn't give you a pronunciation anywhere. Pilonidal.
Oh, the videos.
Oh, the video's bad.
Not as bad as I thought it would be.
All right. Well, let me read the. Now, see, this has been a great phone call. This has been a fantastic phone call. Michael, I had a Pilonidal cyst, or whatever it's called. It's a cyst, also known as Jeep driver's disease. It's very painful and is located near your butt crack. Laugh out loud, he says. Mine first and something smelled like horse manure. Please keep me anonymous. A 4-hour surgery later, it was fixed. So, of course, I don't know what it is, so I have to go over and I plug it in. And Wikipedia, it's Pilonidal disease is a type of skin infection which typically occurs between the cheeks of the buttocks and often at the upper end. and Angie's in there looking at videos of it.
Yep.
Oh, man. Symptoms may include pain, swelling, and redness. There may also, tell me, Angie, if this is a correct description based on what you've seen. Symptoms may include pain, swelling, and redness. There may also be drainage of fluid. It rarely results in a fever. Risk factors include obesity, family history, prolonged sitting, I got to stand up a minute. I got to read this while standing up in case I don't want to get one of these things. Whoa, baby. Greater amounts of hair and not enough exercise. The underlying mechanism is believed to involve a mechanical process. The lesions may contain hair and skin debris. Diagnosis is based on symptoms and examination. Wouldn't you like to be the doctor who examines that? Go in and tell the doctor, I got this pain in my butt crack. And without even looking, the doctor says, well, you got a pilonial cyst or an abscess or a serracoccygeal fistula. How about that? And Angie's in there looking at photographs of it.
It's so gross. I just can't stop looking.
But you're the one that watches Dr. Pimple Popper, and you're telling me this is gross?
Well, yeah, it's all kind of gross, but it's gross in a satisfying way.
Can you say it again? Because the way you say that, I find that satisfying. You find it really gross in a satisfying way.
You can go to the podcast and replay it as much as you want.
Then there's this. Hey, Michael. When I was a kid, I had 2 huge boils under each arm. I wasn't able to put my arms down. When I had them lanced, it filled up about 10 Kleenexes. Do you still say Kleenex?
Kleenex tissue?
Yeah, I think tissues.
I think I say both.
Do you say both? Okay. Well, he used Kleenexes, each side with a purplish yellow pus. A purplish yellow pus. Wasn't that the name of a rock band? Purplish yellow pus?
If not, it should be.
It should be, shouldn't it? That'd be like a punk rock band, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Purplish yellow pus showing at the Fillmore Theater or the Ogden Theater, right? Because I don't think the purplish yellow pus would play at Red Rocks. Or Pepsi Center. I don't think so, right?
No, they wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't play it. They might. You think they'd play over here at Fiddler's Green?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. All right, you still looking at videos?
No, I'm done with that.
If I could, there's no way for me to turn for those of you on YouTube and Facebook, here is, tell me when the photograph is. Can you see the picture, Angie?
Yep, you can see it.
Can you see the butt crack and the cyst?
If you turn your head a little bit slightly to the side, yes.
If I turn my head to the side?
I mean, as a viewer.
Oh, as a viewer. Oh, I thought you were like telling me. I thought you were telling me to turn my head and cough.
No.
Yeah, I got all the cords and wires and everything. Are we still on the air?
Unfortunately, well, after showing that video, I mean, we might get pulled from Facebook considering that content.
We're talking about medical conditions.
Okay.
These are serious. I mean, can you imagine having one of those on your butt? It's not even on your. That's not even correct. It's not on your butt. It's like in your butt crack. Did I show the picture the other day of the guy that showed up at my house?
No, because we were having streaming issues, so I don't think anyone got to see that.
Oh, so people didn't get to see it? Here, let me. Oh, there's my little granddaughter. She's so cute. Oh. So I had how'd that happen? Boom, boom. Da, 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 ba, ba. You think we're still in the air now?
Yep.
Okay.
Still on the air.
All right. So this was at my house the other day. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah, you can, but you can't really see any details.
And the installation of some engineering equipment. And he asked me to step aside for a moment so he could get down under my desk where I work during the day. And let's just say I've never seen a plumber's crack like that in my life. And this guy wasn't even a plumber. He was an engineer. You don't think I should post it?
No.
You can't identify people by their butt cracks, I don't think.
Yeah, but
what?
This seems distasteful.
But I just showed a pilloneedle disease fistula on your butt crack of that guy. Man, I got all sorts of serious stuff here to do tonight. How'd we get off on this? Do you ever stop and wonder how we get off on some of these things that we get off on?
Yeah, it's.
I didn't phrase that correctly because we don't actually get off on it. We just how do we get down? How do we go down these rabbit holes? How do we steer? What happens?
I'm not sure. Like there's like something shiny in the corner, and it's like I'd rather talk about that at the moment.
And that's actually psychologically you are spot on. Because this stuff in the pile over here right now that I have all ready for tonight, I don't want to talk about.
Because it's all serious stuff, isn't it?
It's all serious stuff, and I don't want to talk about any serious stuff tonight.
You know what's adorable?
What's adorable?
That video I put up on the website.
Yeah.
With the little 4-year-old, a dad put a mic on his 4-year-old kid, and they were playing hockey, and you can hear what the kid says as he's trying to skate around.
Does the kid cuss?
No, he doesn't.
Seriously? It's
a 4-year-old, and he's adorable. He's more like he lays down because he fell over, and he said, "I'm just gonna take a nap right here."
You know what else is adorable? Do you follow Christian on Instagram?
Oh, are you talking about the puppy?
Yes, with
their doggy.
One of his sons is with the dog. Did you see that picture?
I did.
It's so cute. You should follow Christian Toto on Instagram. Hollywood and Toto. Is it Hollywood and Toto? Yeah, I can't find him. You should follow me on Instagram too, Michael D. Brown.
Real Hollywood.
I like Instagram. Do you like Instagram?
Yeah.
What?
Of course I do.
What do you mean? Of course you do.
Because it's full of pictures.
I think that's what I like about it. It's like it's just fun stuff. Did you see the picture of Greta today? Do you know what the vet told us? Greta is overweight.
Well, whose fault is it for? Are you taking her to McDonald's?
But she gets.
But I'm hearing an excuse.
Yes, I take her to McDonald's, and she gets half a sausage patty, and then the wiener dogs get a fourth of. They each get the other half divided in two, which is a fourth. That can't add weight. They told us to cut back on our dog food, and I think that's cruel. I can't make fun of Diesel being a lard ass anymore.
He is not a lard. He has slimmed down. Okay. I got him, and it's like too high, so his belly kind of gets a little covered in snow and wet. But that's because it came up, not because his belly went
What's
down.
the name of Toto's dog? Was it Alex? Where'd it go? Oh, I thought I just had it. Oh, here. It's Real Hollywood and Toto. If you're going to follow Toto on Instagram, it's Real Hollywood and Toto. Do you think there's a fake Hollywood and Toto? Wonder why he'd use that as his Instagram moniker. The newest Toto makes his Instagram debut. I think it's actually debut, but I think you should call it debut. He doesn't say. I thought he said the dog's name was Alex. Why do I think Alex? Did you like that photograph?
I did like it. I hit the little heart thing on it.
Yep. Do you know how long it took me to figure out that you don't have to actually hit the heart? Like, under the picture, there's a little heart over there.
You mean just double tapping?
That you can just double tap the picture? Do you know it took me probably 2 years to figure that out?
No, it's a long time.
And my daughter was watching me and she said, "Dad, you can just double tap the picture." What?
I don't double tap.
I like to touch the heart, don't you?
Yeah, because I see all these people say double tap if you like this. Like, I don't want to like it. They try to trick you with that double tap.
You can buy ammo called double tap? Figure that one out.
I did not know that.
Yes. It's some damn fine ammo, I'll tell you. Double tap ammo. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, Joe Hillen's on here. What about Joe Hillen's up to? This is the segment where Angie and I just talk about our social media posts. Let's see who else is on here. Oh, here's Teresa Roca. She's a who else? Instagram, of course. There's Joe Hillen. Joe posted a nice picture of a cool sunset tonight. Joe's a nice guy. I miss Joe over here in the newsroom, don't you? Let's see.
Joe or Joel?
Joel. Chris Tomer posts the Chris Tomer is a meteorologist over at Channel 2. And he hikes all the time. And he's always got these gorgeous vistas of places he's been hiking. See that one? Isn't that gorgeous? Can you see it?
Ooh,
Isn't
is
nice?
pretty.
Isn't that nice? I always like his photographs.
I also see all that plastic you got in your wallet, too.
Oh, my credit cards?
Yep.
Oh, which one do you want?
Well, I used to know the zip code for one of them. I don't remember what it is, though.
Well, I had to change all my numbers because once you got a hold of my credit cards, I had to change all the numbers.
I don't understand. You can totally trust me.
I can?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go move. When it snows out, I'll go warm up your car and bring it around so it's right outside the door.
Hey, they fixed my new car today.
Oh, did you?
Yep. Took it in and they had it fixed within less than an hour. You know what they asked me?
What did they ask you?
They wanted to know if I did it.
Well, I mean, it does seem really suspicious.
Why does it seem suspicious?
You conveniently left and brought it back with a dent, but
I called from my daughter's house the minute my son-in-law saw it. I called the sales guy and said, "Hey, there's a little crease on the passenger on the driver's side door."
And don't they usually do a little inspection? Maybe they didn't do their
We
inspection
all
very
did. Well. All of us walked around and looked. None of us caught it. I kind of like that new car.
What? That exists? I thought it was only cars and.
No, now they have it. Now they have it so that if somebody darts out in front of your car, it slams on your brakes. It's the most annoying thing in the world. I probably shouldn't say that on air, should I?
Yeah, because you make it sound like you almost hit somebody.
Well, no, I didn't almost hit somebody, but here's what it does. So when I pull into my garage, I try to pull up next to these cabinets, and it keeps hitting the brakes. It won't let me get up close to the cabinets because it thinks I'm going to hit something.
How close are you getting to the cabinets?
I like to get right up to the cabinet.
Isn't there like a feature that you can turn it off or something?
I did. I adjusted it. I sat in my garage today with the engine running, adjusting it. Maybe that's what's wrong with me now. I've inhaled too much carbon monoxide.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Was the garage door open?
I don't remember. I think maybe it was. I don't know.
Oh, that explains a lot. Because if you had some of those fumes up there.
Oh, we had carbon as a kid. Something happened to our heater in this house we lived in when I was growing up, and I remember waking up and the fire department was in our house because something had caused carbon monoxide in the house and scared the crap out of me. You wake up as a little kid and there's a fireman staring at you.
That's scary.
Yeah. Firefighter. Not a fireman. Firefighter. What's the scariest thing ever happened to you? We had a peeping Tom one time.
Oh, that's weird.
Tamara's family had serious problems with the peeping Tom one time. I mean, like serious problems. Like call the cops. Cops kind of surveil the house for a while.
That's scary.
It was weird. It was weird. But I told him I didn't mean to do it. I told him I was just trying to. You know what Tamara did to me one time?
What?
When we were dating in high school? She sneaked around to my bedroom window and knocked on the window. And my parents heard her. What are you kids doing? What are you kids doing in there?
You're not supposed to knock so loud other people can hear it.
Well, tell her that. Call her right. Let's get her. I'll get her on the phone. You can tell her that. And then you can ask her, what were you doing sneaking over to your boyfriend's house in the middle of the night?
I had a high school boyfriend. I was on the second floor. He climbed up onto the, because there was, I was actually surprised he got up there. Like, how did you get on the roof? Like a monkey.
Okay, so the next question is, did he sneak down off the side of the roof and sneak into your bedroom?
No, I was on the second floor, so I had to go up and there was like a little landing.
Okay, all I care about is did he sneak into your bedroom? That's all I want to know.
Yeah. Duh.
Oh, really? So then what happened?
Don't worry about it. He left. And then, actually, funnier story.
Oh, yeah?
I had a friend over, and we invited a couple guys over, and my parents came home early. Nothing happened, but, like, we told him, like, you need to get out. So I was trying to help this one. He was very clumsy. Tried to help him get down using the fence, and he almost fell on me, who's like 3 times as big as me, and
stories about some of the things that my buddies and I did in high school, but I don't know what the statute. I need to look up the statute of limitations on some of these things, because there might be some things that, I mean, there's some things that, like, if my mom's listening, I don't want her to know. And then there are things that Tamara and I did. Oh, holy moly! You know the undisclosed location?
I don't know if I want to know.
Well, you know the undisclosed location, right? Yeah. Well, let's just say that sometimes we'd have little rendezvous at the undisclosed location.
Like weird stuff?
What do you mean, like weird stuff? like high school, high school teenager stuff.
Oh, well, I'm thinking.
What are you thinking?
Different people.
Oh, one time we were there, and Blizzard 401 FM, and if we are lucky, we're still on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rice. This week, the Broncos are checking out the top college prospects at the NFL Combine, and we're there with them. Listen for live reports from Indy every 30 minutes on Colorado's Morning News on the home of the Broncos, KOA News Radio.
Hey, it's Susie Wargin with some big news from my friends at Renters Warehouse. They've acquired one of America's leading online real estate investment marketplaces and have now become the nation's leading real estate investment services company. What does this mean for you? It means Renters Warehouse is now your one-stop shop to research, buy, lease, manage, and sell single-family rental properties. Seriously, it's like you have stocks and bonds, except they're rental homes. Whether you're looking for 20 properties or just one, Renters Warehouse gives you the tools you need. Find great properties and great tenants, collect the rent, manage the maintenance, view stock-like analytics, and track your portfolio. With Renters Warehouse, you can easily do it all from the comfort of your own home. Heck, you can even do it from your phone. And your properties don't have to be local. They can be anywhere in the country. When it comes to unlocking the investment power of rental homes, Renters Warehouse is leveling the playing field. They have the network knowledge.
It's because she can wear them with anything. At Shane Company, we have all the essentials. Diamond studs, diamond hoop earrings, diamond pendants, tennis bracelets, and statement rings with diamonds, sapphires, and rubies. My team is always redesigning the basics to make them anything but basic. They still look classic, but our unique details make them beautiful from every angle, far more special than the plain styles sold everywhere else.
Come in and see our excellent craftsmanship. You can feel how substantial each piece is because we make all of our jewelry to last a lifetime.
Ladies, treat yourself or put these essentials on your wish list. You deserve something beautiful that you can wear forever.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and pay.
Office walls. We were broke and needed help. That's why I created Patriot Software, to help small business owners with simple payroll for 1 to 100 employees. And if you need help, we will help you for free. Go to PatriotSoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll processing free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Pat Woodard here with Hanson McLean's Scott Hanson. Scott, I've read that couples face 81 different combinations when applying for Social Security. Is that really true?
Well, it is, Pat. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? But when I first started roughly 25 years ago, Social Security was pretty straightforward. But today, there's just so many different options that it's when and how you could apply could be worth tens of thousands of dollars in retirement income.
So I'm guessing your advisors get a lot of questions about Social Security.
Well, it's probably one of the top questions that we get. We've built an entire live workshop series designed to answer the most common questions about Social Security.
And these workshops are coming up soon, right?
Yeah, we have free Social Security workshops the week of March 12th in the Denver Tech Center, Broomfield, Lakewood, and Highlands Ranch. Now, they're highly educational events that teach people who've been saving for retirement things like how to calculate their benefits, blending 401k income, how to maximize spousal benefits, and more.
Where do people sign up?
Well, they can register for free at handsomemcclain.com, but be warned, this workshop topic fills up quickly.
You heard him, Denver. Sign up today at handsomemcclain.com.
KBCO HD3 Boulder. This is an iHeartRadio station.
KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM. The 50,000-watt blowtorch of the Rocky Mountain West.
KOA News Radio time, 8 o'clock. Our top story, a big contract score for the Rockies. First, though, traffic and weather together. Here's Darren Copeland.
Still trying to clear some problems around the metro area. We did clear that one accident at southbound I-25 at Alameda, so I-25 in either direction between Centennial and Thornton is looking great. We have a road hazard westbound I-70 at 225, causing some slowdowns in and around that area. Other than that, the speeds look good across town on I-70. New accident coming in at Pena and Tower, and we're still working that off-freeway accident at Federal and 6th. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
21 degrees tonight in Denver, so a little chilly tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be about the same. Tomorrow, 43 degrees with a chance for some more morning fog for us with partly sunny skies throughout the afternoon and into the evening. From CBS 4, I'm meteorologist Lauren Whitney on KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
40 degrees in Denver, a big day for the Colorado Rockies and their all-star third baseman, Nolan Arenado. The two sides coming to an agreement to keep Arenado in a Rockies jersey for up to 8 years. The deal reportedly worth some $260 million. Voice of the Rockies, Jack Corrigan.
Well, there's no doubt you're talking about perhaps the best player in the National League and one of the top 5 players in all of baseball. So
in 3 home run titles and 4 gold gloves within a 4-year stretch. While Capitol Hill spent the day grilling President Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, the president arrived in Hanoi, Vietnam to engage with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. ABC's Jonathan Karl reports on the greeting the two leaders received.
A half a world away from the political turmoil back home, President Trump received a lavish greeting in Vietnam. Hundreds waving American flags. Tremendous crowds, he tweeted. So much love. After a nearly 3,000-mile, 65-hour journey, Kim Jong-un stepped off his armored train in Vietnam to a red carpet welcome.
Tomorrow, Mr. Trump will hold meetings with the president of Vietnam before the big sit-down with Kim the following day. The summit, a follow-up to their meeting in Singapore in June, meant to help work toward the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and certain security guarantees. Horses are dying at a well-known racetrack in Southern California.
It's a mystery at Santa Anita Park east of L.A. 19 horses have died since the famed park opened up for the season on December 26th. Now work is underway to figure out why the horses are getting hurt. The focus is on the soil to see if excess rain may be contributing to the horses becoming injured. Larry Peel has a 3-year-old filly that was just injured on the track.
It was running in a race, and then we found out after the race that it needed an operation.
The park closed its main track this week to test the soil, but is set to reopen it if testing shows the soil is in prime condition. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Our next update at 8:30. David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. DRE license 019-76010. Minimum fee applies.
Tonight, Michael Brown joins me here.
This is the former FEMA director.
Talk show host Michael Brown.
Brown.
Brownie. Now,
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
it's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
So you know the yellow vest protesters in France? This ought to calm them down, particularly those that see French President Emmanuel Macron as a tyrant. You know, everybody thinks that here, let's just compare and contrast for a moment, shall we? Because everybody thinks that Donald John Trump is, I don't know, he's Hitler, he's Pol Pot, he's Mao Zedong, he's Stalin, he's who am I leaving out? What tyrants am I leaving out? Well, he's just every tyrant embodied in, under that funny hair is just a seething tyrant. Macron has had more than 8,400 of these protesters arrested over the past couple of months. Now they're considering new measures to free them from the burden of incorrect thoughts by banning people from social media for life for expressing thoughts. Do you know this is probably one of the biggest bugabooians? Are offended. Look, I get offended by stupidity. I have, as Angie will tell you, I really have a very passive-aggressive nature when it comes to just dumbassery. My patience is, would you say it's just non-existent? I can be patient sometimes, but generally I'm just totally impatient with people that say they're going to do something and then they don't do it, or people that, claim that, I've been doing this for, I've got this thing ready for you to go for, I've had it ready to go for 2 weeks now. Well, okay, can I see it? Well, I'm not quite ready for it yet. I think what the world needs is more speech. And the whole idea that we're going to ban, outlaw, somehow restrict free speech because other people find something offensive. Think about the last hour. I bet some of you found, we just had fun. And I know some people probably found that offensive. Talking about whatever kind of cyst that is that people get in their butt cracks. Well, you know what? If you found that offensive, call somebody that cares, because we don't. I can't control what your reaction is to anything that I say, any more than you can control what my reaction is to something that you say to me. My reaction is my reaction. My opinion is my opinion. Your reaction is your reaction. And what we should really be cognizant of is that everybody is entitled to their opinions. Everybody is entitled to say what they believe. And other than causal links to inciting violence or falsely yelling fire in a crowded theater, I'm an absolutist when it comes to free speech. And the direction the world is taking is a direction toward tyranny. Macron, the French president, has put forward an idea of permanently banning those of so-called hate speech from all social media. Broadcaster BFM-TV reports that a bill fighting hate speech online will be filed later this spring. Macron argues that permanently revoking someone's fundamental right of free speech for saying something that the liberal establishment does not like is the equivalent of banning soccer hooligans from attending games. There is no comparison. If someone is a hooligan at a soccer game and they cause a riot, they cause bodily harm. It's the same as a shoplifter being banned from a big box store or a small retail store. Or, like, I have a friend who is a compulsive returner of items to Costco. He or she, I'm not going to give you the gender, he or she has this horrible habit of purchasing something from Costco, a piece of luggage, using it for 4 or 5 months, and then abusing Costco's, hey, no questions asked return policy. And so she takes that piece of luggage back into Costco, returns it, claims that, well, no, I didn't really like it. Well, you've been using it for 5 months. Well, I decided I didn't like it. Okay, well, here's your money back. She did that so many times they got banned from Costco. And I believe in law that we should be able to express ourselves freely and openly. And here is the French president who's ticked off because people are protesting him, saying hateful things about him. I mean, God forbid, somebody saying something badass about a politician, saying something nasty about a politician. Heaven forbid we have that. That'd be like some of the emails I get. You know, sometimes I should probably start doing that. Although, you know, I haven't gotten a lot of hate email lately. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. This whole idea that we're going to ban somebody from social media for life, not because you violated the terms of service or the community standards of the social media platform, but because a government entity, a politician, gets pissed off that you say something nasty about them, so they're going to pass a law that says if you get convicted, now just stop and think about that. You get convicted of a crime, and the crime is expressing speech, saying something that denigrates, belittles, mocks, is hateful. Maybe it's even racist. Maybe it's bigoted. Maybe it's homophobic. Maybe it's Islamophobic. Maybe it's whiteophobic. Whatever phobic you want to choose, I don't care. Because I think if I want to say something really nasty, I have the right to do that. Just as you have the right, which many of you sometimes exercise, about pointing out about something stupid that I say and you don't like it or you disagree with it or whatever else. That's what makes the world go round. And here's Macron upset about the Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Vests, all saying hateful things about him or complaining about migrant immigration into France. So the Yellow Vests are protesting not only the Paris Climate Accords and all of the carbon taxes and everything else that are causing energy prices to skyrocket in Europe, but they're also protesting this influx of immigrants that are refusing to assimilate into French society. And so Macron wants to pass a law that says if you get convicted, a criminal conviction of hate speech, I just, my blood pressure just soars when I think about that concept. I want you to look inward for a moment. And I want you to stop and just think about far off into the future. I've explained, and I've given dozens, if not thousands, of examples of where a government program, as well-intentioned as it may be, starts off very small, or we decide, a good example, and I know this will irritate some people, drunk driving laws. Drunk driving laws starts at, I don't know, 0.10, and then it goes to, 0.09, then 0.08, then 0.07, and then 0.05, and it just keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. I don't think this would ever pass constitutional muster, but hey, let's say Louis Farrakhan, the biggest anti-Jew, anti-Semite, one of the biggest dirtbags in American society. Now, personally, I find what he says and what he preaches absolutely despicable, but I don't want him banned at all. I want him to be able to spread his hate as much as he wants to. Because if we decide that Louis Farrakhan should be criminally indicted for what he says about Judaism, or let's criminalize that speech. And then if they get convicted of saying hateful things about us, then we're going to ban them from social media. Think off into the future. Because right now, I bet there are a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but I bet there are people in this audience that are so offended by some things that you think, yeah, I think that's just awful. And I think we ought to ban that. The world would be better if we prohibited that kind of speech. So let me ask you a question. If that's what you think, let me ask you a simple question. Are you the arbiter of what is acceptable and not acceptable? Or are you willing to hand over to an either elected official or an unelected bureaucrat, because in this country, we want them passing rules and regulations within their department that says, yeah, you can't say this or you can't say that, or whatever it might be. And I bet some people think to themselves, well, you know what? Might make society a little nicer, until suddenly you realize, if you're honest with yourselves, that they'll come for you next. Who's the arbiter of that? We have developed such a kind of I can't think of the word for it. And it's a psychosis. We have developed this psychosis of just saying, oh, no, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to see it, I don't want to do it. Oh, would someone please just stop it and make it go away? And the people that you want to stop and make it go away are people that are going to control your life. You give them an inch, they'll take a foot, and the next thing you know, they've taken the entire mile, and the next thing you know, they've taken entire control of your life. That's what Macron's doing. Imagine, look, I was on a tirade, I think maybe it was yesterday, about social media and how these platforms have become so big that I'm actually beginning to think it's time for Congress to invoke the Sherman Antitrust Act and either break them up, or under the Communications Decency Act, requiring them to actually comply with the First Amendment as publishers. If we're going to extend to you the ability to have all of this data and do all of this stuff, even though, albeit in the private sector, we're allowing you to do this. And in exchange for that immunity from liability that you get under the CDA, we're going to require that you comply with the First Amendment. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to allow snuff videos. It doesn't mean they have to allow something or child pornography or anything that we already know is a criminal activity. But when they start suppressing conservative speech, why is it that somehow, as conservatives, we find it perfectly okay. You can ban us, you can shadow ban us, you can shut us down, but Louis Farrakhan, who spreads the most vile hatred toward Jews, never gets taken off YouTube, never gets taken off Facebook, never gets taken off any social media platform. Ask yourself, why is that okay? And it's not okay for little old Michael Brown to say whatever he wants to say on Facebook or YouTube. We're actually, I think the world is kind of in this cauldron right now, heading toward tyranny. Even as we have all of these breakthroughs in technology, which break down all of these old barriers. Think about what Uber and Lyft, for example, have done to the taxi cab industry. It has upended it. Think about, I'm getting ready to reshop homeowners and automobile insurance, just because I think my policy is either just renewed or is about to renew. And think about what I can do now. I don't have to I'm not just stuck with one, calling up one place and I can go online and I can request quotes based on all of the different kinds of coverages that I may or may not want. I can do all sorts of comparison shopping. So as technology is giving us more and more freedom to do all of these wonderful things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do, including Angie and I being able to look up whatever that stupid cyst is that people have in their butt cracks, able to suddenly just, boom, pull that up and understand exactly what that text message was about. As all of that freedom begins to spread and grow, over here on the other side, freedom and liberty is being tamped down. So it's like we're going in these two opposite directions. More and more freedom based on technology. But politically, we're asking for more and more government intervention in our lives in almost every single aspect of our lives. It's this dichotomy that I can't get my head around. And I don't understand why do we hear stories about Macron actually considering banning people convicted of hate speech, and then considering banning them from social media, and we shrug our shoulders like, yeah, well, those yellow vests are a bunch of troublemakers anyway. Man, we're losing our way. We're losing our way seriously. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Tomorrow on Colorado's Morning News.
We'll talk about the Rockies' deal with Nolan Arenado and get the very latest from our insiders.
And we're going to get the latest from Vietnam on the U.S.-North Korea summit.
Plus, go live to Michael Cohen's testimony on Capitol Hill.
Join us on KOA News Radio.
Getting a tasty breakfast sandwich with a quality cup of coffee, that's a morning victory. Getting it served quick and at a great price, that's like a morning victory with a parade and a marching band. Get a sausage McMuffin for $1 and add any size hot drip coffee for just $1 more on McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu. Hot and tasty, fast and easy. That's breakfast at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Feeling that retirement is on your mind. You're wondering if you've saved enough or whether your money is in the right places. You're wondering when will you be able to retire or will you be able to stay retired? And is your money sufficient so you can live in comfort and financial security for the rest of your life? You're wondering all this, but you really don't have to just wonder. You can resolve all these questions in your effort to enjoy a retirement that's everything you want it to be. And we can help. At Edelman Financial Engines, our clients are predominantly concerned about retirement, your financial security for your spouse, for your aging parents, for your children. And we can help you just like we've helped thousands of folks just like you for more than 30 years. So call us at Edelman Financial Engines at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com. And don't wonder about your retirement, because we're here to help you.
Renters Warehouse has big news. They've acquired one of America's leading online real estate investment marketplaces and are the nation's leading real estate investment services company. This means Renters Warehouse is now your one-stop shop to research, buy, lease, manage, and sell single-family rental properties. Whether you're looking at 20 properties or just one, you can easily do it all from the comfort of your own home. Heck, you can even do it from your phone. And your properties can be anywhere in the country. It all starts by visiting renterswarehouse.com today.
You didn't file your taxes last year, and the IRS didn't say anything. The fact is, you haven't filed income taxes for several years, and you figure it's too late. It'll cost too much, and there's no way you're going to figure it out. But there's still that knot in your stomach knowing it's just not right. The bad news is, right now, you're a fugitive from the IRS. The worst news is, if they catch you, it's 1 year in jail for every year you haven't filed. I'm Jack McDonough, founder of Blackfin IRS Solutions. The good news is, the instant we file your back taxes, you go from being a fugitive to just owing money. And then, Blackfin can negotiate with the IRS for you. I can help you because I've been there. The sooner you call Blackfin about filing your back taxes, the sooner you'll get a good night's sleep.
Get caught up on your unfiled income taxes. Call Blackfin IRS Solutions online at blackfinirs.com. For your free in-person consultation, call 303-904-1450, 303-904-1450, or blackfinirs.com. Are you taking Viagra and tired of paying $60 per tablet? Marley Drug has generic Viagra for just $10 per tablet. $10 for generic Viagra is a savings of $50 per dose. Call now, 800-513-2150, and get free shipping on all orders of 10 tablets or more of generic Viagra. Marley Drug is a Colorado licensed pharmacy. Call now, 800-513-2150, 800-513-2150. Again, 800-513-2150.
Meet Jerry.
I could wake the dead with my snoring.
Jerry suffers from sleep apnea.
I really didn't know what I was going to do.
He was desperate for a solution as CPAP wasn't working for him.
If we couldn't find a solution, I would be done. I'd have to find a new career. And at 50 years old, thinking, God, I got to start all over again.
That's when Jerry discovered Inspire, a sleep apnea solution and alternative to CPAP. How are things now?
There's just no feeling like it.
To learn how you can treat sleep apnea without a mask and review important safety information, visit InspireSleep.com. Patient testimonials are genuine and typical. However, results may vary.
KOA News Radio, time 8:30. A Florida zookeeper is in serious condition after being struck by the horn of a rhinoceros. The incident happened at the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens during a training session. Zoo officials are investigating. The zoo says guests were never in any danger. The question of consumer confidence in the economy.
A rally in the stock markets and an end to a partial government shutdown has a lot of Americans feeling pretty good about the economy. The latest consumer confidence survey from the Conference Board of Business Research Group rose to 131.4 from 121.7 in January. The index measures consumers' assessment of the current economic conditions and what they expect in the next 6 months. Both were up, with views of today's economy the sunniest since December of 2000. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Sports, big day for the Colorado Rockies. The franchise signs star third baseman Nolan Arenado to an 8-year extension, $255 to $260 million. Next update at 9, David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Still a couple problems around the metro area that are causing some slowdowns. Got a pothole westbound I-70 at 225. It's in the middle lane, and it's causing some stop-and-go traffic back to Chambers. Other than that, speeds are looking good on I-70. I-25 is looking good between Thornton and Centennial. But for folks heading out to DIA, watch for an accident at Pena.
The hottest topic right now, true crime. So, iHeartRadio declares this week True Crime Podcast Week. Get ready to discover something new, like Monster, Zodiac Killer.
He seems to crave publicity.
Dr. Death, Over My Dead Body, The Dropout, Dirty John, My Favorite Murder, and others. True Crime Podcast Week. Let iHeartRadio be your podcast player. iHeartRadio, your music, your stations and podcasts too. All free. iHeartRadio.
What would it take for you to get a tattoo you didn't want? $1 million? How about $1 million? How about $1 million socks? I'm Randy from Bombas. When me and my business partner Dave,
how's it going?
Quit our jobs to start a sock company,
Bombas,
we wanted to make the best socks in the history of feet. No more annoying seam, no more falling down your leg, added arch support.
You get the idea.
And what's better than creating the best socks in the history of feet?
Sharing them.
This is what we do. 1 pair purchased equals 1 pair donated to those in need. Our dream was always to donate 1 million pairs. We thought it would take 10 years. That's why Dave said,
when we donate 1 million pairs of socks, I'll get a tattoo to celebrate.
But then something happened. People loved our socks, and instead of 10 years, it only took 2.5. 1 million pairs.
And 1 Bombas tattoo on my arm.
Feel the most comfortable socks in the history of feet by going to bombas.com/KOA and get 20% off your first order. That's BOMBAS.com/KOA.
If you're not making $5,000 to $10,000 a month at your current job, then maybe it's time to start flipping properties for some quick cash. If you like the sound of that, you're in luck. Over the last 5 years, the NVREA team has been perfecting the art of flipping properties for cash without the added risk of using your own money or credit. Call now and they'll send you a free copy of their DVD, Hidden Treasures in Wholesale Flipping. On this DVD, you'll see their easy wholesale flipping strategy for locating, evaluating, and flipping a property for profit in your area. Plus, learn how you can access highly discounted properties and the right funding partners for that perfect wholesale flip. Call 1-800-614-2196 now to get your free wholesale flipping DVD. Call 800-614-2196 and they'll also throw in free tickets to an information-packed live flipping training class, which includes a free smartwatch just for attending. Call 800-614-2196. That's 800-614-2196 to get your free flipping DVD now. Brought to you by NVREA.
Back to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio and streaming live at KOANewsRadio.com.
Well, I spent all my money on a pack of cigarettes for a lady that I love with the name I forget. That night I taught her how to laugh, she taught me how to slow dance. I tried to take her home, she said you don't stand a chance. I'm the closest thing my mother had to her daughter. I used to be ashamed of that, but now I'm kind of flattered.
You may recall last night we had several sound bites from Dianne Feinstein, who was confronted by a bunch of rugrats and striking teachers about the Green New Deal. And I've always found that fascinating. When you just think about, let's start with some assumptions for a moment. Let's assume that greenhouse gases, CO2 in particular, a naturally occurring gas, somehow is causing this planet to warm. And let's make an assumption that any increase in the Earth's temperature, however that is measured, is a bad thing. And that if we don't do something, the next assumption would be that we're all going to die. Now, if you take those three assumptions, how do you then control China and Russia, or Brazil, or India, or any other developing nation? How do you get them to cut back on their emissions proportionately or to the same degree that we do in order to cool the Earth back down, assuming that that's what happens when you reduce emissions? How do you do that? Treaties are made and broken all the time. We know, for example, North Korea. The president has gone off to Hanoi, and they're going to have some summit about how they're going to try to denuclearize the peninsula, or at least the northern half of the Korean peninsula. Yet, despite all of these summits, we don't really know if anything substantive has been done or not. And that's just on one tiny little issue. China has a growth problem. I know it seems like immaterial to most Americans, but the slowdown in the Chinese economy and the slowdown in the European economy can really send the world economy into a tailspin. Russia is having problems because, you know why Russia's having economic problems? Because we are producing so much oil that we're now a net exporter of oil through the miracle of fracking, and I should say modern day fracking because fracking has been going on for decades. We are producing more natural gas than ever. And that's fueling our economy, literally fueling our economy. Do you think that China is going to do, China is trying to figure out right now how to build their military for an eventual takeover of Taiwan, to eventually control the South China Sea, to probably at some point exercise some control or degree of influence over the Korean Peninsula as a whole, and eventually over Japan. China has world domination ambitions. And so as their economy slows, and as Chairman Xi tries to figure out how to hold on to power, he's going to do anything and everything he can to try to fast start and jumpstart that economy. So do you think he's going to agree? He doesn't give a rat's ass what the Paris Climate Accords say. He'll sign anything. You could put anything in front of President Xi right now, and he'd sign it because you know why? He doesn't give a rat's ass what it says because he has zero intention of dependent upon the sale of oil and gas. And he can't sell squat. Saudi Arabia has entered into negotiations with China to do all sorts of development. Why? Because, once again, America and what we have done in terms of fracking and oil and gas development has put Saudi Arabia back on its hindquarters. So all of these economies around the world are beginning to teeter a little bit while we're growing. They're going to do everything they can to either catch up with us or to bring us down. It's a really precarious situation. And what do we have? We got a bunch of dimwits, a bunch of true dimwits that think that what we ought to do in order to prevent the earth from increasing its temperature, and I still wonder, nobody's ever given me a good answer to this. Where exactly do you take the earth's temperature? I know we've got monitoring stations all over the world. Do you rate some greater than others? Are some more important, less important than others? Does the earth have a rectum somewhere? Do we get one of those exogen thermometers that you hear advertised all the time? And do we run it across the forehead of the earth? Exactly where is the earth's forehead? It is stupid what we are doing to ourselves. You know, I can think back, for those of you that haven't lived in Colorado long enough, I can recall that there was a time when I could come down US 66, down out of the mountains north of Boulder, and hit I-25. And I could never see Pikes Peak on the news, or that morning on the news, well, tonight's a no-burn day. We have so improved the environment in this country. Yet we somehow believe, or have convinced ourselves, or we're allowing these nitwits like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and those nitwit kids that have been indoctrinated by a bunch of yahoos in public education to believe that we're all going to die in the next 10 or 12 years. Well, I've been told we're going to die in the next 10 or 12 years for the past 30 years. China and Russia, Brazil, India, the BRIC countries, none of these places, they don't give a rat's ass about this stuff. They don't give a twit about it. Because their economies are important. They want to grow. And all we want to do is stymie ourselves. So anyway, last night, Dianne Feinstein is all upset trying to tell these rugrats that, I know more than you do. I've been a U.S. senator and blah, blah, blah. She gets on her hind legs and she's like, rah, 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 rah. Well, apparently, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez didn't take too kindly to Dianne Feinstein saying that she knew more about the new Green Deal and about climate change than those rugrats did.
The issue's gotten worse. So I don't think that working on an issue for 30 years alone is what qualifies is what makes someone qualified to solve an issue.
With all due respect to doctors, lawyers, or any other profession, do you want someone who has experience? Or do you want someone who has never, or the first time, I mean, literally, it wouldn't be the first time, but in terms of a private practice, it might be the first time that they're in an operating room picking up a scalpel to actually operate on a real, live, paying patient? Or do you want a doctor that's got a little experience under their belt? Do you want to go to that brand, and again, with all due respect to brand new lawyers, or do you want to go to a lawyer when, let's just, for example, you're facing a badass criminal charge? Or do you want someone who really has some experience defending people against the same kind of charges that you might be facing? So when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says that, well, yeah, dealing with an issue of 30 years doesn't make any difference, well, that's just immaterial. How naive can you get, sweetheart? How naive can you get?
The issue's gotten worse. So I don't think that working on an issue for 30 years alone is what qualifies is what makes someone qualified to solve an issue. That said, there are a lot of people that have been doing this work for decades that have proposed ambitious solutions for years and have not been listened to.
Oh, they've been listened to. Listen to them all the time. It's just that nobody cares. Jeremy.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You're offended.
I am very offended. Yes, sir.
Good. Congratulations. What are you offended about?
Mostly you. I just heard you call Alexandria Cortez a sweetheart, which is a term that people use to talk down to women, which I just don't appreciate because she is also a person, and you calling her sweetheart is basically talking down to her.
Do you know what? I don't care.
Okay. Well, my second point is...
Well, wait a minute. So you just give up?
Well, I mean, if you don't care, I'm not going to convince you otherwise, so why waste my time?
Well, you wanted to call in, said that my comments apparently about that and the climate are offensive. I'd expect you to at least attempt to mount a defense.
I'm saying that you calling a woman sweetheart that you don't know is offensive to all women, and it should be.
Really?
Yes.
All women?
Yep.
That's quite an extrapolation. So all women are offended by my use of the term sweetheart.
I would say that if you...
No, wait a minute. You said all women. So your contention is that all women are offended by my use of the term sweetheart.
Okay, maybe all of the stretch, but I'd say a good 90% of women do not want to be called sweetheart when you don't know them.
Okay, what if I do know them?
Do you know her?
No, I said, what if I do know someone?
Okay, and if they're okay with you calling them sweetheart, that's fine. But you're calling her sweetheart in a derogatory, talking down type of manner, and calling her sweetheart.
Do you know why I call her? Do you know why I call her sweetheart?
Why?
Because she's an idiot.
Okay, well, see, sweetheart exactly is talking down, and you wouldn't call a man a sweetheart by calling him an idiot. It's just another way that you are talking down to women, and I just am offended completely.
So what could I call you that would offend you, since you're a man? What could I call you that you would find offensive?
I mean, honestly, you can talk to me like a man, tell me the things you don't like about me.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. I'm asking you as a. I'm asking you as a man, Jeremy. I'm asking you as a. I assume you're a man. Are you a male?
Yes, sir.
So, what term could I use to a male, such as yourself, that you would find to be the equivalent offensive term as sweetheart?
Honestly, faggot.
Well, why, are you gay?
No, not at all. But my mom's gay.
Well, no, I'm asking. So I'm asking you. First of all, why would I call you that term if I didn't know whether you were gay or not? What is? How's that the equivalent of sweetheart? I want to know what the equivalent term of sweetheart is to a male that you would find offensive. You what?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Oh, okay. Apparently you can't use that term on the air.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Okay. So my question is, I'm looking for you to explain to me what would be.
The reason I called in about climate change.
No, hang on. I'll let you get to that point. But I want to know. So you find the term sweetheart offensive, and I'm just simply asking, what would you find to be the equivalent offensive term that I could use toward you as a male, other than the term maggot with an F? Because I don't know what your sexuality is, nor do I care what your sexuality is. I don't know what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's sexuality is.
Right, but you're dodging my point, Michael. I think that.
No, I'm trying. No, I'm honestly trying. I'm honestly trying to find out.
A woman called me sweetheart in a derogatory term, it'd be the same thing.
Okay, so I'll call you sweetheart. So tell me, sweetheart, what else do you find offensive?
Climate change denial.
No, I think the climate changes. I've never denied that the climate doesn't change.
Right, but you're denying 98% of science, every developed country in this entire world.
98% of scientists? Where'd you get that?
From every single paper I've ever read. They all agree with it.
Every single paper you've ever... So you've never read a paper that disagrees with the so-called... I thought it was 97%. When did it creep up to 98%? You've never read a single paper that disagrees with your hypothesis that man-made anthropogenic climate change is real? You've never read any single thing in the opposition.
Okay, well, let's just halt that point for a second and say climate change, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Say climate change is man-made. It's all made up. We're all just spouting nonsense for no reason. What is the harm in taking care of our planet? Why do you demonize the people who want to take care of our planet?
Who doesn't want to take care of the planet? And what are we doing that's hurting the planet?
The vast amounts. Do you go scuba diving, Michael?
No.
Okay. Well, then you won't understand the impact of global warming on our barrier reefs. I go scuba diving constantly, and 90% of what I used to scuba dive is completely dead. All of it dead.
And what's the causal link? Where'd you get that statistic?
From another paper I read, Michael. Do some research and you will come to the same conclusion.
I research all the time. But let's go back to the point about you claim that 98% of scientists, and my question to you was, have you ever, because I've read some of those papers, and I've also read papers that disagree with that. And I'm curious if you've ever read anything that disagrees with what you claim is climate change. Anything.
Of course I have, or else I would have come to you with fact 100%. But I know it's not 100%. But let's just say
so it's not 100%.
The 97% are wrong. What's the harm in taking care of our planet, reducing carbon emissions, increasing our ocean life? The ocean has increased more than 2 degrees centigrade.
What if carbon levels in the atmosphere have been greater at other times in civilization when we didn't have SUVs?
They have back when the dinosaurs were around, and they went extinct.
And they went extinct. Why? Because I got to go to Lisa. Hey, Lisa, how you doing, sweetheart?
Oh, I'm good, sweetheart. Hey, I was just listening.
KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Now batting through the year 2026, third baseman Nolan Arenado.
Nolan swings and drives it.
Arenado does his thing again. Home of the Colorado Rockies, KOA News Radio.
If you're not making $5,000 to $10,000 a month at your current job, then maybe it's time to start flipping properties for some quick cash. If you like the sound of that, you're in luck. Over the last 5 years, the NVREA team has been perfecting the art of flipping properties for cash without the added risk of using your own money or credit. Call now and they'll send you a free copy of their DVD, Hidden Treasures in Wholesale Flipping. On this DVD, you'll see their easy wholesale flipping strategy for locating, evaluating, and flipping a property for profit in your area. Plus, learn how you can access highly discounted properties and the right funding partners for that perfect wholesale flip. Call 1-800-614-2196 now to get your free wholesale flipping DVD. Call 800-614-2196 and they'll also throw in free tickets to an information-packed live flipping training class, which includes a free smartwatch just for attending. Call 800-614-2196. That's 800-614-2196 to get your free flipping DVD now. Brought to you by NVREA.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-493-1717 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-493-1717. 800-493-1717. That's 1-800-493-1717.
Hi, I'm Rorden Shane, fourth-generation jeweler. From day one, my great-grandfather felt it was important to give customers more options. That's why Shane Company has more diamonds than anyone else in town, in all sizes, in every price range, and with the broadest selection of diamond shapes. In addition to traditional round and princess-cut diamonds, we have cushion-cut, oval, pear-shaped, marquise, emerald-cut, radiant, even heart-shaped. For each diamond shape and grade, we pick the best diamond cutters in the world, who cut the stones to our superior standards, giving each stone maximum sparkle. No other jeweler does that. See all the diamond shapes at Shanco.com, or even better, come into the store and our team will show them to you. Discover what shape speaks to you. Whether you want to personalize a pendant or fashion ring, or you're building the engagement ring of her dreams, whatever your budget, you'll have more diamond shapes and sizes to choose from than anywhere else in town.
Now you have a friend in the diamond business. Shane Company and Shanco.com.
Homeowners, there's never been a better time to permanently fix your pipe leaks or low water pressure by repiping your home today. Repipe specialists have been repiping homes for over 25 years. With 40,000 home repipes completed, they stand behind their work. They have perfected the most efficient process for customer convenience, repiping an entire home in just 1 to 2 days, patching your walls, and providing a lifetime guarantee. Repipe Specialists only uses high-quality PEX or USA Grade L copper pipes. And for a limited time, get 20% off and 0% interest for an entire year. Repipe Specialists, the no-hassle, value-priced, all-inclusive repipe. Call today for your free in-home estimate tailored for your home at 888-503-1742. That's 888-503-1742. 888-503-1742.
KBCO HD3 Boulder. This is an iHeartRadio station.
KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM. The 50,000-watt blowtorch of the Rocky Mountain West.
KOA News Radio, time 9 o'clock. Our top story, a big contract score early this spring training for the Rockies. First, though, traffic and weather together. Here's Darren Copeland.
Yeah, we have one big problem we need to tell you about. It's a pothole westbound I-70 at 225 in the center lane and causing stop-and-go traffic back to Chambers, so be aware that it's in the center lane. You might want to move to either side in either lane. Other than that, speeds look good on I-70. I-25 is looking good as well. No problems to report across the city. We are clearing that accident inbound Pena at Tower. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
21 degrees tonight in Denver, so a little chilly tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be about the same tomorrow, 43 degrees, with a chance for some more morning fog for us with partly sunny skies throughout the afternoon and into the evening. From CBS 4, I'm meteorologist Lauren Whitney on KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
39 degrees in Denver. Nolan Arenado, a Colorado Rockies player for at least a few more years. It's an 8-year contract extension, reportedly worth some $260 million.
I saw Nolan in the clubhouse, had a big smile on his face, gave me a big hug.
Makers are asking drug companies why prescription prices are much higher in the United States than in the rest of the world.
Democratic Senator Ron Wyden confronting drug company CEOs, saying sky-high drug prices are bankrupting sick Americans.
It's morally repugnant when ailing patients are forced to choose between filling the next prescription or putting food on the table.
Drug makers say those high costs support research for those life-saving drugs. Andy Field, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Mind the gap and mind your speed through the GAP project on I-25 south of Castle Rock.
We've had the speed reduced to 45 miles per hour along those frontage roads since the project began. There's a lot of work taking place. And then we also have crews that are out there working primarily during the day. So we need people to slow down because those frontage roads tend to encourage some speeding at times.
CDOT's Bob Wilson, California.
It's a mystery at Santa Anita Park east of L.A. 19 horses have died since the famed park opened up for the season on December 26th. Now work is underway to figure out why the horses are getting hurt. The focus is on the soil to see if excess rain may be contributing to the horses becoming injured. Larry Peel has a 3-year-old filly that was just injured on the track.
It was running in a race, and then we found out after the race that it needed an operation.
The park closed its main track this week to test the soil, but is set to reopen it if testing shows the soil is in prime condition. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Our next update at 9:30. David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
I've bought more guns at one place than any other place in my life, and that's at Gunsport in Boulder. You'll find Gunsport at 14th and Arapahoe in Boulder. Easy drive. Go up and visit the guys and tell them Michael Brown sent you. Gunsport at 14th.
Saturday mornings at 6 for Financial Awakening with Matt Clace of the Paradigm Group. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Ron Burgundy Podcast.
The Ron Burgundy Podcast. Already one of the most listened to podcasts in the world. There's a new episode available now. Listener download on the free iHeartRadio app.
Tonight, Michael Brown joins me here.
The former FEMA director.
Talk show host Michael Brown.
Brownie.
Now.
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
It's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
Demeaning to her. I intend for it to be demeaning. When anybody, and remember, Jeremy has the right to be offended by what I say. He just mistakes me for somebody that cares, because I don't. Any more than he has the absolute right to be offended by whatever term of endearment or mockery that I choose to use. I just wish he could have come up with some sort of term of endearment or mockery that I could have used with him. Somebody suggested pumpkin. Might have done that. So tell me, Pumpkin, why are you so upset? He has the absolute right to be offended. And I admire his guts to call in and tell me that he's offended. But here's what I find the scariest of all. Now, the Great Barrier Reef, I think maybe he's referring to the Great Barrier Reef. has over the past several thousand years gone through 4 or 5, maybe even more iterations. It's come and gone. Greenland was green at one time. That's why it was called green. The climate has changed. But here's what I mock. What I mock are the people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and quite frankly, the Jeremys of the world, who are so consumed by this belief that if we don't, and I should have asked Jeremy how old he is, that are so consumed, and I'll tell you why in just a second, who are so consumed, oh yeah, Pajama Boy, that would have been even better, who are so consumed by this irrational fear that if we don't do something and do it now, that we are doomed. I'm just of that age where I have been told that so many times that I recognize what it really is. It is not about saving the planet. It is about imposing some form of a tyrannical form of government. And I know that those who sincerely believe that, oh my God, if we don't do something, the planet is going to boil over. Remember Obama telling those people, those kids in Africa, that they can't have air conditioning and they can't have nice cars because, well, you know, pretty soon everybody's going to want that and the planet's going to boil over. I will fight to my dying day to oppose those who want to somehow exploit people's fear in order to grow the size and control of the government over our lives. I would, in fact, I'm going to, I know I've read it somewhere, but I will go find it tomorrow. But I know these coral reefs live and die just like everything else. And when I ask for a causal link, it's something about some carbon dumping into the oceans. It's been going through these cycles for millennia. The Earth has survived for tens of thousands of years. And to somehow have the arrogance, which I think is ignorance, but to have the arrogance to think that somehow banning straws, getting rid of fossil fuels, doing all of these things is somehow going to have any sort of substantive effect on Earth's temperature is just naively, it's just naive. Scientific paper anywhere, for or against, either somehow supporting anthropogenic global warming or somehow debunking anthropogenic global warming, that has ever been able to tell me that the ideal climate is either what it was or is right now, or what it was 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or what it's going to be 10, 20, 30, or 100 years from now. Nobody can tell me that. I don't care whether you're pro or you believe in anthropogenic global warming or you don't believe in it. Somebody tell me with some sort of scientific certainty that the ideal temperature of the Earth is X. When I hear stories, or when I read stories about how if the Earth continues to warm, that pretty soon, oh my gosh, we're starving people in China or starving people anywhere, would welcome the ability to have longer growing seasons throughout the world so that we can produce more food. I would actually prefer to see the Earth get warmer than colder. I don't want to go through a mini ice age. Humans survive much more in warmer climates than they do in colder climates. But hey, the effect that sunspots, solar flares, that the atmosphere, that moisture in the atmosphere, that anything else that somehow Green New Deal, irrespective of the cost.
You cast yourself on the campaign trail as a truth seller. You say we need to tell truths.
Yeah.
What do you say, or tell me if you think this is fair, that as you talk to Democratic voters, they're hungry. And they want ideas. And so you'll hear things like the Green New Deal. You'll hear things like Medicare for all. You'll hear things like whether it's taxes. You'll hear things.
Right.
At what point do you say, that's our North Star, but we have to be realists?
There's no question we have to be practical. But being practical also recognizes that climate change is an existential threat to us as human beings. Being practical recognizes that greenhouse gas emissions are threatening our air and threatening the planet.
Seriously? You know, if we want to use anecdotal evidence, anecdotal evidence is everywhere. But
and that it is well within our capacity as human beings to change our behaviors in a
interesting. As human beings, it's well within our capacity to change our behaviors. What if I don't want to change my behavior? What if I have no desire to change my behavior at all? You see, what Kamala Harris, for that matter, Jeremy and all the others, including my little sweetheart Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, what they want to do is they want to force behavioral changes upon you. They want the government to somehow come in and force your behavior to change. And I will fight that with every ounce of my being. We survive as a republic the freer that we are. And I'll posit this. If you actually do believe in man-made climate change, and I hate using that phrase because a mere 4 or 5 years ago, it was man-made global warming. And then when that went away, we had to change the phrase to man-made climate change, just in case, well, as we've seen, the warming goes away. All these people want to do is control your life. That's all they want to. And I am more fearful. I mean this, Jeremy, if you're still listening, I mean this with all the sincerity in my heart and soul. I fear you and people like you more than I fear climate change. Because you want to fundamentally transform this country, and you want to force behavioral changes upon this society that I am not willing to accept. If there is a problem, follow the money. Because if there truly is a fear of rising sea levels, people won't spend hundreds of millions of dollars developing waterfront properties. If you understand economics at all, there's your telltale sign.
Way that we can reduce its effects. That's practical.
Can we afford it?
Of course we can afford it.
$2.5–3 trillion a year for Medicare for all by some studies. Depending on which portions of the Green New Deal you pick to do first, that's money. That you know what the Republicans are going to say, tax and spend liberals, pie in the sky.
One of the things that I admire and respect is the measurement that is captured in 3 letters, ROI. Mm-hmm. What's the return on the investment?
Tell me what the ROI is on almost any government program. You should not measure government programs based on ROI. What's the ROI? Quantify the return on investment of World War II, of the Marshall Plan. What's the return on investment of the Vietnam War, of the Afghan War, of the Iraq War? What's the return on investment of the TSA? What's the return on investment of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security? What's the return on investment of any government program? It's not how you measure government programs, because government programs are not designed to return a profit. That's what ROI is, your return on investment. Government does not invest. Government spends.
People in the private sector understand this really well.
Because it's the private sector. You don't understand the public sector, sweetheart.
It's not about a cost, it's about an investment.
See? Bingo, right there. It's not about a cost. The cost is immaterial. To these people, the cost is immaterial. It is more about satisfying their base. It is more about somehow growing the size of the federal government, making the government more intrusive into your individual life, more about taking away your liberty and freedom than the private sector's ability to come up with a solution. Because if the private sector, if there is a problem, coming up with a solution, then a bunch of bureaucrats.
And then the question should be, is it worth the cost in terms of the investment potential? Are we going to get back?
The investment potential? We're not buying shares in a publicly traded company. We are not taking our tax dollars. If we're taking our tax dollars, I want to know what I'm getting back. I can quantify some of that in that, okay, I spend on the military, and I don't have foreign countries invading my country. But I don't measure that in terms of, okay, I paid $25,000 in taxes this year. And in exchange for that, I got $50,000 worth of benefits. That's a problem that if we don't solve now, the Earth's going to explode. The reason offered for the ban to get rid of paper receipts is to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. And the other is to reduce public exposure to BPA, a chemical used to coat receipts. The journal global ban on paper would have no significant impact on atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. The more interesting reason for the ban is the BPA argument, which is part of a broader trend of misuse of science in public policy. The alarm behind the California bill arises from the notion that BPA is an endocrine disruptor, a chemical that even at low doses can disrupt human hormonal systems. Such disruptions theoretically could cause a variety of ailments, from cancer to reproductive problems to attention deficit disorder. The only problem is that science was debunked decades ago. Decades ago. In 2012, the FDA decided to launch some cheating. Researchers required to blah, blah. The results of Clarity were published in 2018. The FDA concluded that the study failed to demonstrate adverse health effects from exposure to BPA in low doses like the amount one might. It is a sad state of affairs when actual science cannot vanquish adjudicated science fraud in public policy. And that's exactly what we have going on with climate change. That's a phrase you ought to memorize right there. It is a sad state of affairs when actual science cannot vanquish adjudicated science fraud in public policy. You live long enough, you start to see the fraud, and you recognize the fraud for what it's worth. More government control and more limitations on your liberty. Because who doesn't want more government control? Freedom's just way too chaotic. Freedom's just way too difficult. It's just easier to kind of be put in your straitjacket. So nobody's offended, nobody's hurt, nobody's harmed. So much easier, so much easier. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Tomorrow on Colorado's Morning News.
We'll talk about the Rockies' deal with Nolan Arenado and get the very latest from our insiders.
And we're going to get the latest from Vietnam on the U.S.-North Korea summit.
Plus, go live to Michael Cohen's testimony on Capitol Hill.
Join us on KOA News Radio.
Small business owners sometimes go broke. My first business startup in the 80s was a fledgling startup story. Credit cards were maxed, car had bald tires, house had broken windows, and my employees got paid before I did. But my diet of hot dogs and mac and cheese was to die for. Hi, I'm Mike Capel, founder and CEO of Patriot Software. My business startup was messy. Actually, I was broke. My wife and I lived on fumes for 4 years. To escape our financial reality, we played board games and dreamt of someday owning our own boardwalk and park place. That's why I created my 5th successful company, Patriot Software, to help small business owners do their payroll without going broke.
You're in luck. Over the last 5 years, the NVREA team has been perfecting the art of flipping properties for cash without the added risk of using your own money or credit. Call now and they'll send you a free copy of their DVD, Hidden Treasures in Wholesale Flipping. On this DVD, you'll see their easy wholesale flipping strategy for locating, evaluating, and flipping a property for profit in your area. Plus, learn how you can access highly discounted properties and the right funding partners for that perfect wholesale flip. Call 1-800-614-2196 now to get your free wholesale flipping DVD. Call 800-614-2196 and they'll also throw in free tickets to an information-packed live flipping training class, which includes a free smartwatch just for attending. Call 800-614-2196. That's 800-614-2196 to get your free flipping DVD now. Brought to you by NVREA.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-493-1717 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-493-1717. 800-493-1717. That's 1-800-493-1717.
Attention. If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs green-lighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call the hotline number now, 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794.
KOA News Radio, time 9:30. President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un have specific goals in mind for their second summit. ABC's Jonathan Caro reports.
For Summit 2, both leaders are hoping to achieve something Summit 1 did not: concrete results. Kim is seeking relief from crushing economic sanctions. President Trump is saying North Korea can become an economic powerhouse if Kim agrees to give up his nukes. But U.S. intelligence officials say they see no sign North Korea is ready to do that.
Tomorrow, President Trump will hold meetings with the president of Vietnam before the big sit-down with Kim the following day. Hulu's changing up its pricing plans. The basic on-demand streaming service is decreasing in price by $2 to $5.99 a month. The cost of basic Hulu plus a live TV subscription is going up $5 a month. In sports, Rockies signed star third baseman Nolan Arenado to an 8-year extension. approximately $260 million. And the Nuggets and Thunder tonight at Pepsi Center. Denver leads by 3 midway through the second period. Next update at 10, David Cahill, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Accident-free, but we still have some problems around the metro area. Pothole westbound I-70 at 225 is causing some definite slowdowns back to Chambers on I-70. Watch for that. It's in the center lane, so make sure you make your way to the right lane or the left lane. Other than that, speeds look great on I-70. I-25 is a little bit heavy northbound right around 58th heading towards the Boulder Turnpike. Everything else, though, is looking like the speeds are right at the posted mark. C-470 and the Boulder Turnpike itself are in excellent condition. CBS 4 weather. Tonight, some clouds with a chance of fog, low of 21. Tomorrow, some early fog, then partly sunny, high of 43. Currently 37 degrees. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hey, it's Susie Wargin with some big news from my friends at Renters Warehouse. They've acquired one of America's leading online real estate investment marketplaces and have now become the nation's leading real estate investment services company. What does this mean for you? It means Renters Warehouse is now your one-stop shop to research, buy, lease, manage, and sell single-family rental properties. Seriously, it's like you have stocks and bonds, except they're rental homes. Whether you're looking for 20 properties or just one, Renters Warehouse gives you the tools you need. Find great properties and great tenants, collect the rent, manage the maintenance, view stock-like analytics, and track your portfolio. With Renters Warehouse, you can easily do it all from the comfort of your own home. Heck, you can even do it from your phone. And your properties don't have to be local. They can be anywhere in the country. When it comes to unlocking the investment power of rental homes, Renters Warehouse is leveling the playing field. They have the network, knowledge, and technology to make you a rent estate mogul virtually overnight. It all starts by visiting renterswarehouse.com today. Renters Warehouse. List, rent, manage, all under one roof.
Islanders in the Caribbean like to say that if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, and that's great advice for the stock market, too. It's easy to get upset when the market falls, but what we have to remember is that this, too, shall your investments and see if they're doing what you need and expect. We'll either reassure you that you're doing what you should be doing, or we'll give you recommendations.
Michael Brown on KOA News Radio.
My house in Budapest, my hidden treasure chest, golden grand piano, my beauty focus EOU. Ooh, you, ooh, I'd leave it all.
Well, my next sweetheart I'm going after tonight is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, the self-avowed socialist, but really a communist at heart. You know, all these videos are coming out about his trip back in the 80s to the old Soviet Union. And him talking about how wonderful it was to visit communist Soviet Union. Unfreaking believable. You know, the very definition of progressivism is that you slowly keep pushing the envelope, ever so gently, pushing aside freedom and liberty, pushing ever so gently toward tyranny. And you do it gently and slowly until you see opportunity arise where you can take exponentially larger steps, and then you back off until you see the chance to finally push everything over the edge. And we've been going through this for the past 20 or 30 years. And we've kind of reached peak stupidity in terms of progressivism. Because now Bernie Sanders is out announcing he's going to run for president again. Of course, I think every Democrat and their dog is running for president this year because they all think they can beat Donald Trump. And he's on a town hall that's being hosted by Wolf Blitzer over at CNN. And he's asked about, how are you going to pay for all these programs? And he goes after a company that, I don't care whether you love them or hate them, just don't lie about them.
But he's originally from your hometown of Brooklyn, New York.
Many of your policies have been met with speculation about how they're going to be paid for. What would you propose as solutions to pay for your ambitious policy ideals?
Great question. Thanks. In the United States right now, we have more income and wealth inequality than any other country on earth. We have 3 people who own more wealth than the bottom half of America. We have the 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%. We have 46% of all new income going to the top 1%. Okay? So what we have in America today is a whole lot of wealth. But that wealth and income increasingly goes to the very, very wealthiest people in this country. So what I believe that in a democratic, civilized society, healthcare, is a right. Making sure that our kids can get a higher education is a right. That we rebuild our crumbling infrastructure is a basic need. That's going to cost money. But at a time when the people on top have so much, while the middle class shrinks and we have so many people living in poverty, if your question is, am I going to demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes? Damn right, I will.
Oh, he's Mr. Tough Guy. By the way, the poverty levels in this country, communist that runs, and and when I say they're communists, I don't say that glibly. I say that because that's what they say they are. Bill de Blasio is a self-avowed communist. Bernie Sanders is a self-avowed socialist/communist. So I don't say it glibly. I don't say it for effect. I just say it as a matter of fact. So Bernie thinks there's all this wealth in the country. It's just in the wrong hands. The same thing that Bill de Blasio said. So if there's all this wealth in the country and it's in the wrong hands, how do you get it in? Well, first of all, whose hands does the wealth belong in? I would say the wealth belongs in the hands of those who earn it, those who take the risk. And you know what? You don't actually have to be the entrepreneur that takes a risk. You don't have to be the Jeff Bezos of the world that build a company like Amazon taking all the risk. You can participate in that risk-making by being a shareholder. And if you invest in the right companies, you get to share that wealth. I got a big-ass dividend from Apple just the other day. I got some big-ass dividends this past year. Corporate profits are at record-breaking levels. And I say hallelujah, because you know what? Those dividends go right back into my brokerage account that I can use to invest in other companies, or even more of the same company. So here's Bernie all upset. Healthcare's a right. Higher education is right. Infrastructure is a right. Hell, everything's a right. And if everything's a right, there really are no rights, but that's a subject for a different time. So what does he want to do?
All right.
And, of course, the SEALs just clap, 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 clap. Oh, yeah, we love you, we love you. Oh.
And let me give you, people say, where are you going to get the money? Where are you going to get the money? Amazon, owned by the wealthiest guy in the world, made $5 billion last year in profits. Anyone here know how much they paid in taxes? Zero. That's right. That's where we're going to begin getting the money.
Ignorant. Utter ignorance. As of December 31st, I know many of you are probably not accountants, tax lawyers, or maybe you're not steeped in operating loss carryforwards. You know, when your company operates at a loss, you are able to offset those losses. You are able to offset all of your taxes, and then you can take those operating losses as carryforwards against future profits in future years. I can do that with stock losses to a somewhat similar degree. Well, as of December 31st, 2018, Amazon had federal operating loss carryforwards of $627 million. What does that mean? That means in building up Amazon to the huge company that it is today, they went through a whole bunch of years where they lost money. And the tax code, which applies to every company, is allowed to take those operating loss carryforwards against current year profits. So let's go back again. As of December 31st, Amazon had federal operating loss carryforwards of $627 million. They had foreign balances of $7.8 billion and state balances of $919 million. Net operating loss carryforwards are created when a company's deductions for the year are more than its income. So companies can use federal tax loss carryforwards by deducting the amount they can, some as early as the end of the current year, which means you can expect to see Amazon report at least enough net income in the current year so that they can take advantage of the foreign and state net operating loss carryforwards rather than allowing those losses and those carryforwards to expire unused. It's the way you do business. There's nothing sneaky about it. There's nothing illegal about it. It's the way the tax code is designed. And it's designed so that companies are willing to take risks, including risks that cause them to, man, we just keep plowing ahead. We keep losing money, but we know if we just stick to it, get enough investors, eventually we'll turn a profit, and all of those losses will be able to be offset against future profits. Now, why do we have a tax code that does that? Because we want to encourage businesses, even businesses who are losing money, to try to stay operating, to try to stay afloat. We want to encourage that. We don't want to just say in the tax code, well, sorry, you had a loss this year. Your taxes are going to be $1 bazillion, so yep, you're out of business. We understand as tax policy that it's better for a company, whether it's a small company or a gigantic company, to be able to offset against profits with those loss carryforwards as an incentive to keep going. Now, Amazon also has tax credit carryforwards of about $1.5 billion. They have federal capital loss carryforwards for income tax purposes of about $250 million, and a portion of those carryforwards begin to expire in 2022. So their accountants are busy trying to figure out, okay, how much can we take of those carryforwards and use this year, next year, and try to use up all of those between now and 2022. Because otherwise, you're just wasting those carryforwards. You know what's left unsaid about everything that Bernie Sanders says is that the Amazon refund is because of credits earned during several years of losses in which Bezos was trying to get Amazon up and running. And there's others baked in the tax code that every single public company, including Amazon, can take full advantage of. And here's the kicker. Nobody mentions this, particularly doofuses like Bernie Sanders, because you know what? I honest to God don't think that Bernie Sanders understands the tax code. All he knows is his staff said, yeah, we looked at Amazon's tax returns for this year. It's publicly available because it's a publicly traded company. And they paid zero in federal income tax. And that's all they hear. Here's what is never said. Left unsaid is that the Amazon refund is because of credits earned during all those years of losses that are baked into the tax code. But Amazon still had to set aside $565 million. They had to set aside $500 billion for future federal income taxes due, and Amazon had to make an overall $1.2 billion net tax provision that reduced its net 2018 net income. Amazon knows that it's going to have to pay taxes on the profits that it's been making when their loss carryforwards are either used up or begin to expire. The other thing they ignore is this. Amazon paid $1.2 billion, approximately $1.2 billion, in cash for state, local, and international taxes due in 2018. So when these yahoos say that Amazon paid nothing in taxes, that's a lie. And when people repeat the lie by answering 0, 0, they're either ignorant or they're just repeating the lie that the media keeps feeding over and over and over. You know, Amazon also had to deposit about 250 million euros into escrow in March of last year as a result by the European Commission that tax authorities in Luxembourg did not comply with rules on state aid when dealing with Amazon from 2006 to 2014. Amazon had to make that deposit, in essence, to put it in escrow for taxes that may be due when the European Tax Commission finishes its audit of those tax credits issued between 2006 and 2014. I actually get kind of furious. This is a great example, and I don't expect people to understand all the intricacies of the tax code. But there's some basics that you ought to understand. And the basics that you ought to understand is that we have a rational reason for allowing companies to take losses and carry forward those losses in the lean years into the profitable years. And that's because we want these companies and the jobs they create to survive. We get it that if you take a risk, you start up a company, we understand that, you know what, you may lose a boatload of money in the formative years of that company. And we also know that eventually we hope that you start making a profit. So what we want you to do is not give up when you're incurring all of these losses. We want to incentivize companies to hang in there, try to keep going until they can turn a profit, and then allow them to deduct taxes against that profit in order to continue to grow, because guess who's paying taxes? The company may not be. Amazon itself may not actually be paying federal income taxes that year because of the loss carry forward. But think of the thousands of employees that are paying taxes, including payroll taxes, that go to fund Medicare and Social Security, that they are paying from the jobs they have. Think of the taxes that the companies that are making profits by selling products and services to Amazon, think of the taxes they're paying. So it's like Amazon is this tax generator. It's just that Amazon, the corporation itself, didn't necessarily pay taxes this year because of a loss carry forward. It's not that hard to understand. And the rationale behind it is even more important to understand. Would you rather have, when Bezos started Amazon, would you rather have him having given up after, well, I've tried this. We've had a good 4-year, 5-year run, and we just keep incurring losses, and I just can't keep the company going. So we'll shut it down. All those jobs will disappear. All the contracts that those vendors have, those will all disappear. Or would we rather give them the ability to carry those losses forward against future profits so that in the long term, Amazon becomes a long-standing company employing thousands of people that has thousands of contracts with vendors, suppliers, and others who themselves are paying taxes, all of the employees that are paying taxes, and that, yes, Amazon, when its carry forwards expire or run out, will also be paying taxes. And that doesn't even count the state and local taxes or the foreign taxes they're paying. There's a rationale for this. Bernie Sanders doesn't have a clue. And when he attacks Amazon and says that's where we're going to get the money, he's going to kill Amazon.
All right. And let me give you, people say, where are you going to get the money? Where are you going to get the money? Amazon, owned by the wealthiest guy in the world, made $5 billion last year in profits. Anyone here know how much they paid in taxes? Zero. That's right. That's where we're going to begin getting the money.
How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it, Bernie? What are you going to do? Eventually, and think about this. So let's say that Amazon made $5 billion in profit. I don't know how much profit they made last year, but let's say it's $5 billion. So the 20% tax rate, they owe $1 billion in taxes. You know what $1 billion is in federal spending? Probably 2 hours. That's probably 2 hours of federal government spending. Maybe a little more, maybe less. I don't know the exact figure. $2 billion in taxes is a drop in the bucket. So what are you going to tax them at? Tax them at 100%? Take all of their profits? $5 billion? So you take $5 billion from Amazon and you pay for what? 8 hours of government spending. Whoop-whoop-de-doo. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rice. This week, the Broncos are checking out the top college prospects at the NFL Combine, and we're there with them. Listen for live reports from Indy every 30 minutes on Colorado's Morning News on the home of the Broncos, KOA News Radio.
Right now, save big and transform your home with Champion's Home Makeover Sale. Save 40% on Champion windows. Every Champion custom-made window is backed by their exclusive limited lifetime warranty. If it breaks, they fix it for as long as you own your home. And they're factory direct, so there's no middleman and no markup. Hi, this is Dave Logan, and Champion is the only window company that I personally endorse. And right now, you can save 40% on windows and 35% on sunrooms and siding when you participate in the Champion Yes program. Plus, 12 months, no interest, no payments. But hurry, time is running out. Schedule your free in-home estimate today online at getchampion.com. 40% off new windows, 35% off new siding and new sunrooms. It's the Transform Your Home sale. Book your appointment online at getchampion.com. That's getchampion.com.
The Champion limited lifetime warranty applies to Comfort 365 windows as long as the original purchaser owns the home. Subject to qualifying credit approval, minimum purchase required. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Cannot be combined with other advertisers' offers. See store or website for details.
You didn't file your taxes last year, and the IRS didn't say anything. The fact is, you haven't filed income taxes for several years, and you figure it's too late. It'll cost too much, and there's no way you're going to figure it out. But there's still that knot in your stomach knowing it's just not right. The bad news is, right now, you're a fugitive from the IRS. The worst news is, if they catch you, it's 1 year in jail for every year you haven't filed. I'm Jack McDonough, founder of Blackfin IRS Solutions. The good news is, the instant we file your back taxes, you go from being a fugitive to just owing money. And then, Blackfin can negotiate with the IRS for you. I can help you because I've been there. The sooner you call Blackfin about filing your back taxes, the sooner you'll get a good night's sleep.
Get caught up on your unfiled income taxes. Call Blackfin IRS Solutions online at blackfinirs.com. For your free in-person consultation, call 303-904-1450, 303-904-1450, or blackfinirs.com.
You've been lied to. Lied to by corrupt Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine. Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and I want to give you a free copy of my brand new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because we all know another market crash could be right around the corner. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough, and since then I discovered a way to grow money potentially double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free copy and talk with a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose when the next stock market crash hits, all while building a tax-advantaged retirement. Call 800-493-1717 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-493-1717. 800-493-1717. That's 1-800-493-1717.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
KBCO HD3 Boulder. This is an iHeartRadio station.
KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM. The 50,000-watt blowtorch of the Rocky Mountain West.
KOA News Radio time, 10 o'clock. Our top story, high drama approaching on Capitol Hill. First, though, traffic and weather together. Here's Darren Copeland.
Well, we are accident-free around the metro area, but we do have some small problems. Still got that pothole working westbound I-70 at 225. It is causing some stop-and-go traffic back to Chambers. It's looking better, but it's in the center lane, so make sure you go to either the left or the right side. Other than that, speeds are looking good on I-70. I-25 is looking good in either direction across town as well. We are starting to see some slowing westbound Boulder Turnpike right around Broadway, so be aware of that. C-470 and 270 are both looking good. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
21 degrees tonight in Denver, so a little chilly tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be about the same. Tomorrow, 43 degrees with a chance for some more morning fog for us with partly sunny skies throughout the afternoon and into the evening. From CBS 4, I'm meteorologist Lauren Whitney on KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
39 degrees in Denver. President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, reportedly planning to publicly accuse the president of criminal activities while in office. Wall Street Journal reporting during his public testimony in the House Oversight Committee tomorrow, Cohen will detail alleged criminal conduct related to a hush money payment to former porn star Stormy Daniels. He'll reportedly present documentation that he was reimbursed by Mr. Trump in several installments through 2017 for the payment. It's the news Rockies fans have been waiting for. The team finalizing an 8-year deal with third baseman Nolan Arenado worth some $260 million. Voice of the Rockies, Jack Corrigan.
I think he relished the idea of being Cal Ripken, Derek Jeter-like, a superstar player who wears just one uniform, emulating Todd Helton with the Rockies, and now with a chance to be that.
for this generation of Rockies players.
Corrigan says Arenado was beaming in the clubhouse. ESPN reports the contract includes a no-trade provision and that Arenado has an opt-out clause after 3 years. Everything ready in Vietnam for President Trump's second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Colorado Senator Cory Gardner telling Fox News several steps need to be taken for North Korea to denuclearize.
Full transparency, accountability, going in with IAEA inspectors, unfettered access for those inspectors. It is not giving to North Korea what they want. North Korea is in violation of international law. They're in violation of U.S. sanctions.
Mr. Trump will hold meetings with the president of Vietnam before the big sit-down with Kim the following day. The House is taking the first step to block President Trump's national emergency declaration on the southern border, the Democratic-controlled House voting overwhelmingly in favor of rejecting that declaration. The measure faces an uncertain future in the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans. Democrats called it an unconstitutional power grab and an attempted end run around Congress. Next update at 10:30. David Kale, KOA News Radio 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Renters Warehouse has big news. They've acquired one of America's leading online real estate investment marketplaces and are the nation's leading real estate investment services company. This means Renters Warehouse is now your one-stop shop to research, buy, lease, manage, and sell single-family rental properties. Whether you're looking at 20 properties or just one, you can easily do it all from the comfort of your own home. Heck, you can even do it from your phone. And your properties can be anywhere in the country. It all starts by visiting renterswarehouse.com today. Are you taking Viagra and tired of paying $60 per tablet? Marley Drug has generic Viagra for just $10 per tablet. $10 for generic Viagra is a savings of $50 per dose. Call now, 800-513-2150, and get free shipping on all orders of 10 tablets or more of generic Viagra. Marley Drug is a Colorado licensed pharmacy. Call now, 800-513-2150, 800-513-2150. Again, 800-513-2150.
Tonight, Michael Brown joins me here.
The former FEMA director.
Talk show host Michael Brown.
Brownie. Now.
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
It's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
Let's go back to Bernie Sanders for just a minute. Because Bernie was not only going after Amazon. Bernie Sanders has now joined the chant of those on the left demanding that Americans pay reparations. I don't even get the concept of reparations. Oh, I understand what it is. Reparations is kind of like applying, history should be viewed based on the standards, the mores, the culture, the morals, everything of that time period. You cannot judge history based upon the time that you currently live in. It's okay to compare and contrast. Oh, this is what life was like, or what people were like, or what was acceptable in 1819 versus 2019. It's okay to do that. But you can't look at 1819 and say, oh, well, all of that was wrong because today we're so much more enlightened. Because in 1819, the same standards, in almost all cases, didn't exist. Oh, there's a few things, murder. Murder was just as wrong in 1819 as it is in 2019. Child sexual molestation, just as wrong in 1819 as 2019. But speech, other activities, slavery, all of those things, while maybe not even acceptable in 1819, there was still abolitionist movements to try to destroy slavery in the United States. But we shouldn't look back on 1819 today and say, oh, those people were evil. Some were, some weren't, but we didn't live then. None of us. There's not a soul within the sound of my voice that was alive in 1819. So we cannot judge those who lived in that year based on how we live today. Cannot and should not do it. So what is reparations about? Why would anybody, when there is literally no one alive today that was alive in 1819, why should we decide that anybody should be paid reparations for having been a slave or having been subjected to, manifest destiny, and we pushed Native Americans off their lands? Why? Pure and simple politics. It's nothing other than pandering to the identity politics of the Democrat Party.
In the U.S. What is your position on reparations to the descendants of slaves?
Descendants of slaves? I'm a descendant. I'm almost embarrassed to say this because of Elizabeth Warren, but I'm a descendant of a Cherokee Indian. I cannot think of any circumstance, upon which me or any of my living relatives are entitled to reparations because my grandfather was a Cherokee Indian. Under no circumstances. And for me to somehow claim, or for any of my siblings or my cousins or aunts, uncles, or anybody else to somehow claim reparations because, my grandfather's grandparents were forced into Indian territory through the Trail of Tears. No, absolutely not. Guess what we've done? We've picked up and moved on.
Well, as I just indicated, there are massive disparities that must be addressed.
Disparities? Disparities where? We talk a lot about causal links and correlation. Let's assume for a moment, let's just assume for the sake of argument, that there are disparities. Think of how absurd this is. That there are disparities between Black Americans and white Americans, or between Native Indians, Native Americans, and white people. Or there are disparities between Jewish Americans or Italian Americans or Greek Americans or African Americans, whatever hyphenated Americans you want to use, I don't care, and just dumb white people. What causal link is there between whatever Irish Americans, Italian Americans, Greek Americans, Black Americans, Native Americans, pick whatever group you want. What kind of causal link exists between whatever they suffered 100 years ago and any disparity that you might have today? There is none. There is no causal link that you can empirically draw between those people from 100 years ago and whatever life you're living today. None whatsoever. Am I a sum of all the genetics and everything else that goes in a family back 100 years? Of course I am. But being a product of all of that familial generational attributes is not a causal link between any disparity that Cherokee Indians may have suffered on the Trail of Tears and the life that I lead today. None whatsoever. And it would be not only foolish of me, I think it would be fraudulent of me to claim that, well, you know, because my grandfather was a Cherokee Indian, today, if he hadn't been a Cherokee Indian, I would be 25% wealthier, 30% wealthier. I would be in some different line of work, or would have been, I don't know, in a graduate of a different university and a different law school, or, I mean, that's trying to go back and rewrite history based on every little change that did or did not occur as time passes by. It's absurd on its face. But that's what Bernie Sanders wants to claim.
In the U.S. What is your position on reparations to the descendants of slaves?
Well, as I just indicated, there are massive disparities that must be addressed.
Let's just take the concept of, we've talked about disparities. Now let's take his claim that those disparities must be addressed. Why? Disparities have and will always exist. It is the mind of the communist, it is the mind of the socialist that says there can be no disparity. I actually think disparities is what makes a society vibrant. Disparity, when you think about true disparity, some people have more money than other people, some people have different lives, some people have different talents, some people have different skills, abilities, whatever it is. You know what? That's what makes society great. Everybody off achieving as much or as little as they want to. I don't want to live in a society where there are no disparities.
There is legislation that I like, introduced by Congressman Jim Clyburn. It's called the 10-20-30 legislation, which focuses federal resources in a very significant way.
Focuses federal resources. There's another euphemism. Focuses federal resources. Let me interpret that for you. Directs federal tax dollars. That's what that means.
On distressed communities, communities that have high levels of poverty.
A community? You mean like a group of people? Or like a township? What do you mean, Bernie?
So as I've just indicated, I think we have to do everything that we can to end institutional racism in this country.
Whoa, whoa. We went from disparity. There's nothing wrong with disparity. Disparity means that Angie is a product of her lineage, her education, her background, her family, her siblings, all of the things that go into making Angie, and I'm the same thing. And there are disparities between the two of us. That's not bad. It just is. There are disparities between me and you, and between you and people you work with. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's actually what makes America great, is that we recognize the individual. And the individual is much more powerful than the collective, is much more vibrant than the collective. Because how do you equalize everybody out? I don't want us all to be the same. Imagine if, now we all tend to cluster. We tend to cluster in terms of our friendships, our social circles. We tend to cluster around people who are like us. And I don't mean that necessarily in a racial way. I think it's true in how you think and what you believe. It has nothing to do with race, has nothing to do with sexual preferences, has nothing to do, I think it has more to do with what you have in common than what you have in your differences. I probably have friends in my social circles that you would look and go, the two of you are friends? Because we may actually be, in all sorts of ways, politically, economically, socially, 1,000 miles apart. But what we have in common is a camaraderie and a friendship based on mutual experiences, mutual work environments, any number of things. That's what's great. But what Bernie's done is he's gone from disparity to racism. Those are not the same things.
It is not acceptable to me that the rate of childhood poverty among the African American community is over 30% in this country. That is beyond belief. That African Americans die from cancer at higher rates than whites.
So we're gonna change the genetics. We're going to change the genetics of the races because there are genetic differences. Just genetic differences between male and female.
So we're going to do everything we can to put resources into distressed communities and improve lives for those people who have been hurt from the legacy of slavery.
Man, how you make those connections is beyond me. So we go from disparity, which is not necessarily a bad thing, to racism. And what we're going to do is we're going to conflate those two terms, and then we're going to somehow redirect federal resources, which means we're going to take money from, I don't know where, and we're going to direct those resources into a collective. And somehow that collective is going to distribute or push those resources, those tax dollars, down into individual pockets, which is not really how it works. It's going to mean that a bunch of different groups are going to get grants, and those grants are going to get eaten up in overhead in salaries and in services and offices and everything else. And then when there's a little bit of money left over, we may actually go out and spend that money in a neighborhood somewhere. And then claim that, oh, look at all the great work we're doing. If you understood how much money is appropriated by the federal government in the name of helping individuals, that actually goes in the form of grants to the very people that lobbied for the money for these so-called individuals, and that appropriated money gets turned into grants that gets eaten up in overhead and salaries, and then a little bit of the money goes to help the intended recipients, you would be, well, you get your pitchforks out. You would be incensed.
So what is your position specifically on reparations? I asked the question because Elizabeth Warren, Julian Castro, they indicated they want to support.
What does that mean? What do they mean? I'm not sure that anyone's very clear. What I've just said is that I think we must do everything that we can to address the massive level of disparity that exists in this country.
So now he's somehow Bernie is confused. Wolf said, well, so do you support reparations? And I don't know why. I don't know why Bernie is suddenly trying to back off. Well, I just said we have to address disparity. Well, Wolf, so Elizabeth Warren and others have come out and supported reparations. Do you? Now, why do you think Wolf's doing this because he's really trying to pin Bernie down, or to give Bernie an opportunity to join the others that are come out for reparations? No. Wolf's doing it because he has an objective here. Wolf has an agenda. And Wolf's agenda is he wants to box Bernie in. He wants to try to cull Bernie from this herd of women over here. Oh, that might offend Jeremy when I said herd of women. That he's trying to cull Bernie away from all of these other Democrat women that are running for president, because CNN have already made their decision that they want a woman. And Bernie's just the old white guy. Even though they love his policies, they love the fact he's a communist and he's a socialist. Oh, they love all of that. But Bernie, you're an old white guy. And you almost screwed it up for Hillary Clinton. We're not going to let you screw it up for Kamala Harris or Amy Klobuchar or Kirsten Gillibrand or, I forget who else, Elizabeth Warren. We're not going to let you screw it up for them. So Wolf's not doing this trying to give Bernie an opportunity. He's doing it because he wants to push Bernie aside.
I'll tell you what they mean, because Elizabeth Warren has said black families have had a much steeper hill to climb. We need systematic structural changes to address that. Julian Castro has said, I have long thought that this country would be better off if we did find a way to do that, reparations.
Well, I agree with what Elizabeth said.
So you would support reparations?
But read what she said. What does that mean? She means, I think, I don't want to put words into her mouth, is what I said. Okay? In other words, as a result of the legacy of slavery, you have massive levels of inequality. It has to be addressed, and it has to be addressed now.
Wait a minute. So now we've gone from disparity to racism to inequality. Those are three entirely different things.
In 2016, you said it would be divisive, reparations.
Well, again, it depends on what the word means. And I know you don't want to be divisive tonight.
So Wolf is like, well, wait a minute. Bernie, in 2016, when you were running against pantsuits, oh, Jeremy might find that offensive too. When you were running against old pantsuit, Hillary, and you almost deep-sixed her campaign, you said that reparations were divisive. So, do you still believe that? Well, it depends on what the word reparations means. Crapola. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fantastic presidential election cycle. I don't know what's going to happen on the Republican side. I think the Mueller report will be a kind of a total bust. But Donald Trump is actually facing some serious problems with the Southern District of with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York. I don't know where that's going to go. It may end up being a bust too. But Donald Trump is standing pretty strong right now. While over here on the Democrat side, they are running to the left as fast as they can. They are running full-bore socialist, full-bore communist. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. I truly never thought I would see it. But that's what they're doing. And now they're trying to figure out, how are we going to take on this guy that's done so much for the economy? Oh, it's going to be a love fest. I can't wait. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and you always find me on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Tomorrow on Colorado's Morning News.
We'll talk about the Rockies' deal with Nolan Arenado and get the very latest from our insiders.
And we're going to get the latest from Vietnam on the U.S.-North Korea summit.
Plus, go live to Michael Cohen's testimony on Capitol Hill.
Join us on KOA News Radio.
I've bought more guns at one place than any other place in my life, and that's at Gunsport in Boulder. You'll find Gunsport at 14th and Arapahoe in Boulder. Easy drive. Go up and visit the guys and tell them Michael Brown sent you. Gunsport at 14th and Arapahoe or online, gunsport.us.
That retirement is on your mind. You're wondering if you've saved enough or whether your money is in the right places. You're wondering, when will you be able to retire, or will you be able to stay retired? And is your money sufficient so you can live in comfort and financial security for the rest of your life? You're wondering all this, but you really don't have to just wonder. You can resolve all these questions in your effort to enjoy a retirement that's everything you want it to be. And we can help. At Edelman Financial Engines, our clients are predominantly concerned about retirement, your financial security for your spouse, for your aging parents, for your children. And we can help you just like we've helped thousands of folks just like you for more than 30 years. So call us at Edelman Financial Engines at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com. And don't wonder about your retirement, because we're here to help you.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. DRE license 019761010. Minimum fee applies.
Need help navigating the complexities of Medicare? If you're a United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan member, you can take advantage of one-on-one support. With United Healthcare, you have help to guide you through the healthcare system. They can answer your Medicare-related questions, help schedule appointments, and make it easier for you to get the care you need when you need it. Go ahead, take advantage of your United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan. Learn more at AdvantageUHC.com.
God is often called the Heavenly Father, but is God everybody's Father? Before you answer, listen to Dr. Michael Ziegler's message this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour can be heard right here on KOA News Radio every Sunday at 6 a.m.
The dead of winter. Not always so bad in Colorado, but your nights can be especially cold and your mornings dreary if the IRS is on your case. I'm consumer advocate Tom Martino. Do you owe back taxes? Been years since you filed? Facing an audit? Get help from my friends at Larson Tax Relief. Shed your winter blues. Warm up with Ron and Jack Larson and their team of licensed tax experts. They'll go between you and the IRS to get you the best possible settlement. Way better than you can do on your own. Larson Tax Relief are the experts I endorse on my referral list at referralist.com. They understand life and taxes don't always fit together perfectly, so they won't judge you. Get relief, Larson Tax Relief, and put your tax problems behind you once and for all. Nothing to lose except stress and your winter blues. Don't waste another season with anxiety, worry, and shuddering when the mail arrives. Come in from the cold. 844-LARSON-TAX. That's 844-LARSON tax, or online at LarsonTaxRelief.com.
KOA News Radio time 10:30. President Trump will dine in Hanoi with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un today.
The threats of fire and fury have been put on hold as President Trump continues to emphasize North Korea's economic potential, a way to entice Kim Jong-un to commit to denuclearization. The president using Vietnam as an example that North Korea can look to, another communist country and one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The president writing on Twitter, quote, "North Korea would be the same and very quickly if it would denuclearize. The potential is awesome." But it's not clear if Kim Jong-un is even interested in moving toward any type of liberal economic reform, which would mean giving up his tight control of his country. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Hanoi.
Bars in Hanoi are hoping to cash in with summit-themed drinks and burgers. The Unicorn Pub in the city's Old Quarter is offering a Rocket Man drink after President Trump's less-than-complimentary nickname for Kim Jong-un. The bar's website describes the beverage as a diplomatic blend of Korean soju and American bourbon with a flair of Fireball whiskey to match the two leaders' personalities. Another Hanoi watering hole is featuring Summit burgers. One called the Dirty Donald comes with double bacon, double cheese, 2 beef patties, and, of course, Russian dressing. Next update at 11, David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
It's going to be a typical drive on the metro area freeways. It's going to be cone zone activity that slows you down. You're going to find that if you're traveling westbound on I-70 at I-225, there's a pothole repair taking place. Traffic's backed up a little bit in that area. Also, there's supposed to be a closure on C-470 this evening, but that hasn't happened yet, and that's between University and Quebec, so that's still open. And you're going to find getting through the Tech Center easy, no problems on 6 through Lakewood. You should be able to make the time on 36 between here and Boulder. Pena Boulevard for the moment looks in pretty decent shape. No problem problems on C470 or E470. The CBS 4 weather, after an overnight low that's going to be about 24, you can expect a high tomorrow near 50. Tomorrow night's low is going to drop down to about 27. Currently, it's 35. I'm Gary Aldo on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
Most serial killers don't make any effort to involve the media or investigators. They almost want their crimes to go unnoticed. But the idea of committing a crime and then calling up the police and bragging about it, that's a whole nother level of terror.
Here we are, 50 years after the first Zodiac killing. Who doesn't want to know how it turns out?
From the creators of Atlanta Monster comes Season 2. This is Monster, the Zodiac Killer. Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app.
You know, if your business is not getting leads and traffic through your website, if your company has lousy rank in Google, call the digital marketing experts I'm using to build my new website. Get Found Fast has been helping businesses develop internet strategies to generate leads for more than 12 years. SEO, social media, reputation management, and awesome state-of-the-art websites like they're building for me. Let Get Found Fast do a free analysis of your website and online presence. It only takes 10 minutes, and you can do it by phone. GetFoundFast.com. That's GetFoundFast.com.
You know that one dream where you're on a beach with your wife, and she's paragliding with your kindergarten teacher. Woohoo! And your boss is there too, only he's a centaur. And he wants to play some beach volleyball.
Let's do this.
But then you realize you can't dream because you're not sleeping, because you suffer from sleep apnea. The good news is there is hope. Inspire is a sleep apnea solution that doesn't require a mask or a hose. To learn how you can treat sleep apnea without a mask and review important safety information, visit inspiresleep.com.
If you're not making $5,000 to $10,000 a month at your current job, then maybe it's time to start flipping properties for some quick cash. If you like the sound of that, you're in luck. Over the last 5 years, the NVREA team has been perfecting the art of flipping properties for cash without the added risk of using your own money or credit. Call now and they'll send you a free copy of their DVD, Hidden Treasures in Wholesale Flipping. On this DVD, you'll see their easy wholesale flipping strategy for locating, evaluating, and flipping a property for profit in your area. Plus, learn how you can access highly discounted properties and the right funding partners for that perfect wholesale flip. Call 1-800-614-2196 now to get your free wholesale flipping DVD. Call 800-614-2196 and they'll also throw in free tickets to an information-packed live flipping training class, which includes a free smartwatch just for attending. Call 800-614-2196. That's 800-614-2196 to get your free flipping DVD now. Brought to you by NVREA.
Connect with Michael Brown. Find him on social media through KOANewsRadio.com.
I feel tears welling up cold and deep inside, like my heart sprung a big break. And a stab of loneliness sharp and painful that I may never shake. You might say that I was taking it hard since you wrote me off with a call. But don't you wager that I'll hide in sorrow when I may lay right down and fall. Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch. Heartaches going to the inside. My tears are holding back there. I'm trying not to fall.
If you want to talk about disparity, I think disparity exists between rural America and urban America. Bill Maher said that recently and caught holy hell for it, but not because he thinks the disparity is something to be celebrated, but because
we have a problem in America called spatial geographic inequality, which means that the most affluent and educated people are clustered in just a few cities. Last year, Hillary Clinton said, I won the places that represent 2/3 of America's gross domestic product. I won the places that are optimistic, diverse, dynamic, moving forward. Yes, you did. And maybe that has something to do with why Trump voters are obsessed with owning the libs, because the libs own everything else.
Except we had some studies come out this week that shows that actually that's not true. You may or may not have seen the map that shows conservative America versus liberal America, where the majority of those who those who self-identify as conservative are spread out all across America. with the exception of the greater Los Angeles area, Chicago, and the Washington-Boston corridor. And in those areas, those people who self-identify more as liberal numerically outweigh all of those others that consider themselves conservative. What that means is, for those who keep advocating for the national popular vote, those concentrated urban areas, Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, Boston corridor. And I would throw in there, I think, some people disagree with me about this, but if you study Texas politics closely, you'll see that Texas is a microcosm of that larger U.S. geographical map, in that you have all of these rural areas outside the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Harris County or Houston, San Antonio, Austin. Those liberal areas, self-identified liberals, are almost catching up and will soon surpass those, I shouldn't say soon, could eventually surpass those who self-identify as conservative, which means that, again, Texas could potentially turn blue. And for those who advocate for the national popular vote, that means that those urban areas, those I just described in Texas, places like Denver, then places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, D.C., Northern Virginia, New York, Boston. Those people will decide where my vote ends up going. That in and of itself is reason enough to be opposed to the national popular vote. If you want to tinker with the Electoral College, which I don't think you can do other than by a constitutional amendment, what legislatures should do is do what Maine and Nebraska, and I think maybe one other state have done, and that is to proportionally distribute your electoral votes based upon the vote in your state. So that if, for example, Colorado has 8 electoral votes, let's say it has, whatever it ends up having after the new census, let's just say it has 8, right? So 8 electoral votes. And if those are divided based upon the election in the state, that 5 of those should go to the Democrat and 3 to the Republican, or 6 and 2, or 4 and 4, or whatever it might be. That's a much more equitable way to do it than to say that these other urban areas are going to decide what my individual vote goes to. At least this way, I still get representation in the Electoral College based on how I vote in my state versus how some yahoo in some urban area votes, and that determining where my electoral votes go. That's why you should oppose the national popular vote. But back to Bill Maher. So he wants to draw a distinction between rural America and urban America.
The blue parts of America are having a big prosperity party, while that big sea of red feels like their invitation got lost in the mail.
What's that based upon? Are there rural areas where there is no growth, where small rural towns are dying? Of course, because there is a natural progression to where the jobs are. And the jobs are being located. Take Colorado, for example. Last Christmas, I drove down to the Oklahoma Panhandle to pick up my mom. I just wanted a little road trip, didn't want to go to the airport and deal with all of that. And it's the first time in a long time that I've taken the back road, out I-70 to Lyman, down through Eads, down through Lamar, Springfield. And it was kind of sad. It was really kind of sad. I mean, some of those areas were sad little places decades ago. They're even sadder little places today. rural America, although I think in some places rural America is going to experience a renaissance, in many other places, it really is a dying part of America. That's just a natural gentrification of the country at large. You think it happens in neighborhoods, it happens in an entire nation. Young people escape, want to go somewhere else, they move away. The jobs go away, they go to where the jobs are. Universities spring up, those become magnets for more jobs, and just there's more growth in urban areas. And in Colorado, it's up and down the Front Range. Unfortunately, it's up and down the Front Range. We're quickly turning into California in this area. But I think that rural areas will experience a renaissance, primarily because at some point, as baby boomers and Gen Xers get older, they won't necessarily want to live in the rat race of a California in the Front Range. And while they may not move to Springfield, Colorado, they might move to Pueblo. They might move to Steamboat. They might move somewhere else just to get away and get into a smaller, rural, slower-paced area. Back to Bill Maher.
And they still use the mail. They turn on the TV and all the shows take place in a few hip cities. There's no Real Housewives of Toledo or CSI Lubbock. There are no red carpets in Wyoming, and no one ever asks you, who are you wearing?
What Bill Maher doesn't understand, because he lives in that bubble of Los Angeles, what Bill Maher doesn't understand is that people that live in Lubbock are quite happy. People that live in Toledo are quite happy. They don't care about Bill Maher. They don't care about Los Angeles. They don't care about Chicago. Any more than the people that live in Pueblo or Steamboat or anywhere else in Colorado care about Denver. It's that holier than thou that somehow those elites are better than average Americans. What he doesn't recognize is that the average American is what really propels this country.
Because the answer is always Target. There are two Americas, and it seems like one is where all the cool jobs are, where people drive Teslas and eat artisanal ice cream. We have orchestras and theater districts and world-class shopping. We have Chef Wolfgang Puck. They have Chef Boyardee.
You ever study the history of Chef Boyardee? Great American success story. Wolfgang Puck, airports. Wolfgang Puck is actually kind of old news.
Yeah. Our roofs have solar panels. Theirs have last year's Christmas lights. We've got legal bud. They've got bud. We have anal bleaching. They have Congressman Steve King. The flyover states have become the passed-over states. That's why red state voters are so pissed off. They don't hate us. They want to be us. They want to go to the party. It's like we're the British royal family and they're Meghan Markle's dad. But if liberals are serious about winning elections, they have to start recolonizing the parts of the country they've abandoned. If we keep leaving the red states behind, they're going to keep getting angrier and crazier. Because if you're not invited to the party, the next best thing is to throw a turd in the punch bowl.
You know what I find fascinating about that is, talk about a lack of self-awareness. I would bet that most people that listen to this program, wherever you're listening, I don't care what part of the country you're listening in, you know what we should do sometime, Angie? We should take phone calls and see from how far away we can get phone calls. and give some prize to the person that, well, how would we verify where they're actually calling from?
Yeah, we want to be able to verify.
We wouldn't be able to verify it. I bet we can get calls from Florida, calls from Chicago, calls from Phoenix, maybe on a good night a call from, maybe from Los Angeles. Be interesting to find out. What Bill Maher doesn't understand, though, is not jealous. If you're jealous, I'll take you to Los Angeles. I'll take you to Chicago. I'll take you to New York. Great places to visit. Not necessarily great places to live. Yeah, I'm not jealous.
As opposed to what happens when Amazon moves to West Virginia. People get better jobs that don't give them black lung. The locals meet people of different races and backgrounds and sexual orientations, none of whom kill them.
And that kind of met with groans. You know, you don't have to live in an urban area to appreciate people of diverse backgrounds. I see it everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I see that.
They find out gays don't ruin anyone's marriage, but they do improve the karaoke scene. A yoga studio opens up, then an art gallery, a gym that admits women. Then one of those trendy bars where inside looks like the outside. Asians come and open a Chinese restaurant, and then Jews come because there's a Chinese restaurant. And before you know it, there's legal weed and decent health care, and the schools are teaching science again.
I'd say he's living in a bubble. Gloria Steinem, revered feminist, was on the Today Show today and said something that struck me as incredibly offensive.
Our next guest is a trailblazer.
You know, I should say, too, before I go on. The other thing I found offensive was the fawning over Gloria Steinem. Listen to the host, Al Roker, and I don't even know who's hosts the Today Show anymore. I guess Bill Maher would be offended by that. Michael Brown doesn't even know who hosts the Today Show anymore. Yeah, I don't know. And guess what, Bill? I don't care.
Our next guest is a trailblazer in so many ways.
Gloria Steinem is a best-selling writer, journalist, activist, and feminist icon.
For more than 5 decades, she has been at the forefront of the fight for equality.
Angie, do you know who hosts the Today Show?
The Today Show?
Yeah. That's what I thought.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Do you care?
Not really. I don't watch the Today Show anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Gloria Steinem is one of the most well-known feminist icons of our time. The 3rd edition of Gloria Steinem's book of essays, Outrageous Acts and Everyday Rebellions, is out now. Gloria Steinem, so good to have you in the studio.
It's wonderful to be here, but I don't know if I can live up to myself.
I think you can.
Let's all pat ourselves on the back because we are the cool people. We're from New York City, and we are so cool. Yeah, that Michael Brown's jealous. Yeah. I'm so jealous that I don't even know who you are, and I don't even care.
Whole movie on that.
What do you want this new generation of reader to take away?
Well, the new generation of reader is instructing me by saying that these essays are still relevant. Why Hitler was actually elected, and he was elected, and he campaigned against abortion. I mean, he padlocked the family planning clinics. Okay, so that is still relevant in terms of the right wing. So there were very few things, actually, that I had to take out.
So if you're pro-life, whether you are, and look, I believe there is a spectrum of beliefs about abortion. But if you are anywhere on that spectrum where you would generally be considered pro-life, you're Hitler. That's what she said. She tried, I think the minute she said it, I think she realized that maybe I crossed a line. But in the end, I really don't care.
Hitler was actually elected, and he was elected, and he campaigned against abortion. I mean, he padlocked the family planning clinics. Okay, so that is still relevant in terms of the right wing. So there were very few things, actually, that I had to take out.
And as long as we're talking about the morning talk shows, Robin Roberts over at Good Morning America, the one who did the fawning, unquestioning interview of Jussie Smollett, who despite all the red flags, who despite all of the what about this, what about that, she never asked the what if questions or what about this or what about that. She then has the Chicago Police Commissioner on and says, oh yeah, there were a lot of red flags, weren't there? Wow. Talk about a lack of self-awareness. Talk about trying to just ignore. Yeah, I may have done an interview with Jussie Smollett, and I may have just kind of glossed over everything. But now that I have you on, Commissioner, I'm more than willing, because you know what? I think people have short-term memory loss because they're smoking way too much weed, or they're just a bunch of idiots. So they're not going to recall that I did this fawning interview with Jussie Smollett. Oh, Jussie, how will you ever recover? No, now it's...
Even though that you all were saying it early on that there was no reason not to believe his story, there were a lot of red flags that a lot of people saw.
Just pause a moment. Every police department is going to say publicly, we have no reason not to believe the story, whatever the story is. And they do that for a very solid investigative reason. They don't want to play their hand. They may have all of the doubts in the world about a victim's story, but they're not going to go out and immediately start publicly announcing that. No, they're going to play their hands close to their vest because they're busy investigating. They're busy building a case. And Robin Roberts, you don't get that at all. Or you do, and you're just trying to cover your own rear end.
Even though that you all were saying it early on that there was no reason not to believe his story, there were a lot of red flags that a lot of people saw, and you all had questions, even though you weren't, of course, going to be public about that. The check that we saw in Eva Pilgrim's report, the $3,500, did the brothers specifically say that was for the attack?
They said that he paid them $3,500 with a check to.
But did they say what it was for?
Yeah, to carry out this incident.
I love it. I just love it. No self-awareness, but hey, all the cool people live in New York and Los Angeles. Yeah, bite me.
That's pretty much all I got.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building.
Now batting through the year 2026, third baseman Nolan